injured in an accident, you need a lawyer. And you deserve an advocate. Because every accident has a ripple effect. It affects your time, your health, your ability to make money, everything. That's where the advocates can help. Speaking with an attorney is simple and 100% free. We're available 24/7 for your convenience, and we'll take on the claims process so you can rest easy. Because you're not just a client to us, you're a person, and you deserve the best help you can get. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show live on your YouTube machine. Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. We're just a week away from Thanksgiving now. Can you believe that already? The Monty Show, as always, presented by our good friends at The Advocates. TheAdvocates.com, who remind you when you get in an accident, there's a right way and a wrong way to handle it. And you need clear, risk-free advice in the worst moments of your life. When you get rear-ended by a big rig, when you get hit riding your bicycle, when you get hurt at work, the worst moments of your life, you need clear, risk-free advice. That's what you know you're going to get from The Advocates at TheAdvocates.com, where you can chat with an injury attorney live online 24/7, 365, and it won't cost you a dime at TheAdvocates.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on The Monty Show. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Hope you are well. A lot to get to. I would like to start the show talking NBA. And tell me again that Jason Tatum and the Celtics aren't a dirty basketball team. Tell me that play with Donovan Mitchell shouldn't have been reviewed last night.
Mm-hmm.
Make the case.
Marty, he was going for the ball.
He was not going for the ball. He put his shoulder on Donovan Mitchell's chin, and the very fact that they never even reviewed it, I think is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
That should have been a flagrant foul. And I think the Cavs are as good as the Boston Celtics. I don't know that the Cavs are better or the Celtics are better. I think it's really even. Donovan Mitchell's playing at an MVP level right now. I think that game turned right there. I think that game, they should have reviewed that for a flagrant foul.
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely should have been reviewed for a flagrant. Totally agree. Don't know how you look at that play and say that's just like a hard foul or just, like just typical NBA defense or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not trusting of the Cavs. I think Don's playing well. They do this every year where they play well to start the year, and then seemingly on the back end of the year. Well, I don't know. I'm not buying it. Just like I didn't buy the Knicks. I'm not buying the Cavs. You're gonna have to show me that you're
not
able to
buying
do this.
the Knicks.
No, I'm not buying the Knicks. They haven't proven anything. They've got a nice roster, but you haven't proven that you can beat anybody yet.
Okay. And then Dalton Knecht absolutely saved the Utah Jazz last night. Huge win for the Jazz in Los Angeles with that loss. And Dalton Knecht. What?
Yeah, huge win with that loss.
Yeah. Dalton Knecht absolutely saved the Utah Jazz last night.
That's facts, dude.
Because if he doesn't come through and shoot the lights out, the Jazz probably win that game.
Facts.
Because LeCap was... And I need to thank LeCap because I got to tell you, last night, I had him on the under on Prize Picks. As I told you, take him on the under, right? And last night, Chaboy over here won. Even though Shai Gilgeous Alexander, I should have picked SGA. I took LaMelo Ball and I paid the price. I paid the price. LaMelo Ball had a 40.5 point rebound and assist number. He got 19.
Big baller brand stuff right there.
LeCap came through. I needed him to go less than 42.5. He came in at 40. And then Lauri Markkanen absolutely came through. Lauri Markkanen last night, 3 3-pointers. I needed 2.5. He hit 3.
Boom.
$25.
Boom.
That's why I say play flex play on Prize Picks. You only need to hit 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Dalton Knecht, 9 threes. Is he the savior of the LA Lakers?
Certainly helping them. Certainly adding depth to that team. So, Yeah, I mean, it's good to see for sure.
Lake Show wins last night, 124-118. Dalton Knecht's line, 9 of 12 from 3, 37 points, 1 steal, 5 rebounds. LeCap had 26. Anthony Davis had 26 wearing his street clothes. I think the absolute savior of the next team that he gets traded to, Austin Reeves, had 17 and 5. So you got to feel, I'm telling you right now, and I know you're all going to hate it, the Los Angeles Lakers will go to the playoffs this year. And
I really don't care if you think it's sus.
And they will win a playoff series.
Well,
they will win a playoff series. Well, see, you and I both know LeBum is going to get hurt.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, Morty.
Look, with Dalton Knecht saving the Jazz last night, I just don't know how you don't love it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you don't love it. I'm going to keep running that out there all year long. Huge win for the Jazz with that loss last night.
Yes.
Huge win. Huge win. All right, let's get into the college football playoff. Let me ask you guys this. Is the college football playoff working? Because we have this system now, and it's expanded to 12 teams because we were trying to avoid the Florida State problem, and I think it's created more problems than it's solved. I've said from the beginning of this thing that I don't believe that the college football playoff with humans making the decision solely on their own is going to ever work to satisfy people. I just don't think that's the way that our society is set up. We all like to whine and complain about things, and trust me, we do. You look at social media last night. You look at the reaction to the college football playoff week 3 polls. Everybody's upset. It's shocking to me that BYU is ranked behind SMU, who they beat. It is shocking to me that Indiana is where they are, that Penn State is where they are. I don't believe that the college football playoff, even with this new slate of selectors, there's a lot of new faces on the selection committee this year. I don't believe that this is the system that is going to be some kind of savior or finally deliver college football and its fans the postseason that it deserves. Frankly, Jake, I think that this week they created more controversy certainly than any problems that they solved.
Certainly. And I think that that's sort of the genius and the issue with this setup. I mean, the whole point of the college football playoff is to create an entertaining product that, makes a lot of money and helps push the sport forward on the football field. And, we're certainly getting that. We're certainly getting the drama, the questions, the wondering about how, again, BYU and SMU, or, a lot of people were upset that, Bama jumped ahead of Miami. And there was a lot of that reaction that came out in this latest ranking. And, I think the system, it has its flaws, just like anything else. But I do think overall it works. I think we have a general understanding of what you need to be in order to get into the college football playoff. You got to be 2 losses or less, depending on what conference you play in. You have to have quality wins on your resume, and you can't lose in November. And, outside of that, if you win your conference, you're in. So I think the formula is pretty straightforward, but I think college football fandom runs so hot that people can't logically look at this thing and say, yeah, it makes sense here or there or whatever. Like we as fans are unable to do that. So I think the system works pretty well. I do think a Super League NFL model would be the most ideal, most perfect system, because then there is no human being making a decision. It's, hey, you either won or lost the game, and that's going to decide your fate. So I think that's why we inevitably get to that. But I think as far as what we have now, I'm not sure that we could ask for much better, because I think the 4-team playoff was just too limiting. I think we all wanted more teams. We all wanted a bigger conversation. And so I think the 12-team playoff does that, but I'm definitely not in favor of 16 teams or anything like that. I think 12 is absolutely the max that we should stay at.
Yeah, and I think you look at the bracket coming into, the weekend. And I think it's really interesting that when you see the bracket and you have, it's absolutely disgusting to me that Boise State is 4th there. This is the problem that we're going to have. If Colorado wins the Big 12 championship, which I think is likely, which I think is very likely, how can you put Boise State ahead of Colorado? I don't see any way that's possible. It is ridiculous to me that when you look at Boise having played nobody, like they do not have a quality win on their schedule. And we've talked about this ad nauseum. This is going to be the argument. How do you have BYU behind SMU, who BYU has beaten? And SMU does not have a quality win and is in the worst football conference in the Power Four. Yet SMU is ranked ahead of BYU, who has one loss, and it was this week. And they have multiple quality wins. These are the things that when you look at this and you look at Texas, Miami, and Oregon, do either of those three more deserving than whoever wins the Big 12 championship of having a bye? Is Boise State on any level more deserving than anyone who wins the Big 12 championship? Whether that be Arizona State, whether that be Colorado, BYU, are any of those teams less deserving than Boise State?
Nah, it's hard to say that they're less deserving, man.
It's ridiculous to me that a team in Boise State, and this is the hard thing that you can't get away from. I love Ashton Ginty. I think he's probably going to come second in the Heisman Trophy. But if I look at who Boise State has played, you have to ask yourself, where's the common sense in having Boise State, whose best game on their schedule is a loss at Oregon? And what is their best win? They don't have a best win. Their wins are Georgia Southern, Portland State, Washington State, Utah State, Hawaii, UNLV, San Diego State, Nevada, and San Jose State. Somebody explain to me how Boise State is ranked in a position where they get a first round bye over anybody in the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's hard to understand. I mean, I think the thing you really have to talk about is the makeup of the committee. I mean, the like you said, I mean, the committee's got a lot of new faces. I think there's a lot of it's rather unpredictable what they're going to do, and I think logic says that Boise State shouldn't be ahead of a Big 12 champion, but clearly that's not how the committee views what Boise State has done. Clearly, the committee views Boise State as a team that would handle Big 12 competition or would handle ACC competition. And so to me, that's what's difficult, is I just don't know how you get to that. I don't understand the equation or the factors that go into somebody coming to the conclusion that Boise State would or should be ranked higher in the bracket than a Big 12 champion. I understand, BYU loses that they got to drop. We all understand that. The only question was how far were they going to drop? And I still think them dropping, I think, 7 spots or 6 spots or whatever, that's still pretty aggressive. I mean, it's your first loss of the year. It wasn't a good loss, but it still is your first loss. So I don't know, man. This is why I say, like, part of me feels like, hey, this is why the system works, because we're all going to sit here all day, every day until we get our final, set in stone bracket going into the playoff about who should be where and what works best. That's why this works. But ultimately, it also doesn't work if we're going to have Boise State, the best Group of 5 team, ahead of the Big 12 champion. Because I don't believe for a second that Boise State would beat BYU, or certainly would beat Colorado. There is no way you're beating Colorado. So that is the hard part. And then, if you look out east, again, we have this classic scenario where Miami's on idle bye week, and they haven't lost, and Alabama won their game and jumped them. And that's the other thing that people were pissed about.
I look at this. I don't understand what this committee's looking at. I truly do not. And usually, like, listen, the rankings are what they are, but you can't have BYU behind SMU and Boise State. I mean, that, for all intent and purposes, SMU has no resume. That this is, and I ask every week on this show when these rankings come out, and the AP poll as well, I ask every week on this show, what are you looking at? And if I just read you Boise's resume.
Yeah.
So what on Boise's resume puts Boise ahead of anybody in the Big 12? What is it? If I look at SMU's resume in the worst football conference in the country, I don't think it's close. Their loss is to BYU, but you still rank them ahead of BYU. Their wins are Nevada, Houston Christian, really, TCU, Florida State, Louisville, Stanford, Duke, a fraudulent Pitt team, and Boston College. That's the entirety of. They don't have a quality win.
So what the committee is saying is they looked at this and they clearly somewhere in that schedule said, hey, there's a quality win somewhere. Like I don't understand. I don't know what else it would be, right? I mean, because again, obviously, like we always say, this is a bunch of people sitting around the table, eating some pizza, putting the ranking together, right? That's essentially all this is. So you look at that and you're like, well, hey, their one loss is BYU, but was Louisville a quality win? Like, is that how we're categorizing Louisville at that point then? Or is the committee saying that, and this is kind of what I was saying about Ohio State or Indiana or any of these other teams that we were talking about yesterday, is like, how does the committee view the win earlier in the season based on where that team is now? So like with A&M, are they saying, hey, well, Notre Dame's A&M win at that time was a hell of a win? Right? A&M was this great team. They were highly ranked. Like, that was a hell of a win. They went on the road to College Station. We get it. But now it seems like that role is kind of reversed because they're not using that same logic, let's say, with SMU and BYU. So that's the hard part is it's both a great thing that we can sit here and talk about this, ad nauseum. But at the same time, I agree. I don't know how you have SMU ahead of BYU.
And I think what these rankings very clearly tell you is that the committee has zero respect for Kansas. And BYU fan, you're going to hate it, but it's what I've said all year. You don't have a reputation. You don't have a track record. So when you lose to Kansas and you lose to Kansas in November, they're going to heavily penalize you
at home.
It's a bad loss. And when I look at SMU, Pitt sucks. Let's just be honest. Pitt is not a good football team. I've said all year long, and I think most people disagreed with me. Pitt is not a good football team. They're just, and
you're not that guy.
SMU is beating them by 20 points.
Yeah.
So again, I say Colorado. Like, where's Colorado on this graphic? 16th. Colorado is 16th on this graphic. You want to talk about disrespect? Unless somehow, and Boise's not going to lose because, again, they don't play anybody. But unless Boise finds a way to lose a game, I think now it is going to be very difficult for Boise not to be that fourth highest ranked conference champion. And I think it is absolutely a tragic decision to have them ranked as high as they are ranked. At some point, this is what I've said about Notre Dame all year. Notre Dame doesn't belong. Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Yeah.
When you look at Notre Dame that you think they're the sixth best team in the country, they are not.
Well, I think Tennessee, when you look at this grouping of teams, Tennessee is the one that I feel like is sort of the linchpin in the momentum downhill as you lose. So Tennessee is this 2-loss team now where you've just lost to Georgia and
your other loss is Arkansas.
Yeah. To me, the Georgia loss wasn't really a good loss. I mean, they dominated you. And
you got your ass beat.
Yeah. So to me, what I'm struggling with is I understand, like in the SEC, because you have to say that in the SEC, the standard's different. So I understand why Bama got put ahead of Miami. The committee's clearly saying, hey, we believe that Bama's a better team than Miami. Resume, SEC, like they've been here before. We get it. Okay, cool. I'm good with that. But what I don't understand about where Tennessee is sitting is Tennessee's a 2-loss SEC team who's going the wrong direction. Yet Colorado, and some of these other teams are going the right direction, albeit at 2 losses, but they're still ranked well below. So my question is, let's say that, and Tennessee's not going to lose to UTEP, right?
No.
But let's say that, we have a 3-loss SEC team here in the next 2 weeks. you should be knocked out of the playoff rankings at that point. I should not see you on the graph at 3 losses, even if you're an SEC team.
And I look at this graphic, and again, how do you not look at Georgia and completely understand what, like, everybody questioning how Georgia is where they are when they lost to Ole Miss 2 weeks ago?
Mhm.
It's Ole Miss. And I say it every week on this show, you don't have to like the SEC, but they take their respect. You don't have to give it to them. They're taking it from you.
Yeah.
Because you look at Georgia's schedule, their losses are to Alabama, who was, I think, 4th in the country at that point, and a 16th ranked Ole Miss team. Their wins are over a dominating win over Texas, who was number 1 in the country at the time.
Huge win.
A dominating win over a 7th ranked Tennessee team. And they've, in my opinion, done more than they needed to do to get into the college football playoff. And then you look at the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And I know everybody lost their mind on Joey Galloway last night. And I know everybody thinks that I took a lot of heat in the comments section over Lane Kiffin yesterday. Tell me that either one of those dudes is wrong. If you are Indiana and you lose to Ohio State, you are still going to be in the college football playoff.
Which is just asinine.
That's what this bullshit right here, excuse my French, that's what this nonsense right here tells me.
Yeah.
The SEC and the Big Ten are getting in. The Big 12 and the ACC are going to have to beg, borrow, and steal.
Yeah.
That's what this tells you. It's the only thing that you're getting out of these rankings, because when I look at Notre Dame, remember everybody yesterday, oh, Notre Dame shouldn't be there. Well, guess what? They're 6th.
Yeah.
Having beaten who?
But
beaten who?
What's their ace in the hole?
They have a ton of people that watch their games.
So that's why they're in.
They have legacy, and
it's Notre Dame.
It's Notre Dame.
Say.
And I'm a Notre Dame fan saying that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're not, I'm telling you now, they're not close to the 6th best team in the country.
It doesn't even bother me that the SEC and the Big Ten get preferential treatment. They get that edge. That doesn't bother me. They've earned that. Like, I'm not bothered by that. But I think that the committee, in my opinion, has got to be really careful about how far you take that, because again, it doesn't, and this is, I'm famous on the show for saying you don't get to have it both ways. You don't get to say, well, Indiana's 10-0, they're 5th in the country. Man, amazing. Kirk Cignetti, Google me, everything's awesome. But then if you go and get your ass beat at the shoe and you lose by 25, you should be out of the playoff rankings. You haven't played anybody. You lost to the best team you've played. Like, but that's not going to happen, as you just pointed out, right? Like, if they lose that game by, as I've said, if you lose by 3 points, or I think the most you can lose it by and still be respected is 10 points. If you lose by 10 points and you get to that margin in garbage time, I think people will respect that loss and say, you know what, Indiana, hell of a year. You played the big boys. Totally get it, bro. We're still going to put you in, but you're going to be a lower seed.
And again, why is this happening to the Big 12? Because you're not going to fire Dave Aranda. That's why this is happening. This league is so comfortable with mediocrity. Beating Oklahoma State is not a triumph. Losing to K-State's crippling.
Well, and what's the other problem for the Big 12 in this whole mediocrity conversation? In the SEC, we're able to say, well, hey, it's Bama. They got a track record. They've been here before. Like in the Big 12, the problem is, and I love Deion and I love Colorado and I love BYU, but you guys don't have track records. And the bigger issue is Tech doesn't have a track record. Okie Light doesn't have a track record. None of these schools
Arizona State.
Like TCU is the only school that's really been able to make any appearance in the college football playoff, obviously.
And then they've fallen off so far
that you feel like it was like, oh, well, hey, maybe that was just a fluke, a one-year thing,
Yeah, I'm shocked. Disbelief is probably too dramatic, but I was stunned that BYU was behind SMU. That this right here, this isn't worth the graphic it's created on. Like it is. BYU is not going to be 12th. It doesn't even. There's so much football to be played. There will be so many shocking losses. I have a hard time. Like I was looking at the matchup last night. I can't see BYU winning in Tempe this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find an avenue for them to win that game, and I can't. I can't see. Like, I think Joey Galloway last night said Indiana should rest its starters and take the L in Columbus. Because if you, and I know that is incredibly controversial because everybody lost their mind. Here's the argument. If you play all your starters and you get that ass whooped, which I think you're going to, how far do you fall? I think there's a chance they're 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, but then on the other side of that, do you really want to send the message you're running from your biggest game on your schedule?
But he's got a sore knee.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
His shoulder.
Whatever,
man, bummer. You know, he was throwing a pass with
soft as hell, dude.
Tossing a ball with his dog in a field, and he just
Soft
popped
as
his
hell.
shoulder a little bit. We got to be careful. It's unfortunate he's going to miss the game. Tell me Joey Galloway's wrong. Is it about getting into the college football playoff, or is it about going to the lane train school and getting into the conference championship game? Because I want nothing to do with a conference championship game.
And I would ask the committee, is it about creating the best matchups or playing a narrative? Because if you have a team that runs from the biggest game on their schedule, they have no business being in the college football playoff. None. Absolutely none.
But yet, if Indiana rests its starters and they lose by 50, they'll still be top 12.
It's embarrassing.
I think it makes sense. I want nothing, absolutely nothing to do with a conference championship.
Why are we in college football going to the strategy of we don't want to play in our championship game and we're going to rest our starters in the biggest game of the year? Why are we running? Why are we avoiding hard?
Because we're not avoiding hard. We're trying to make money. And making money means you got to get into the college football playoff.
Yeah.
There's zero incentive. Again, listen to Lane Kiffin.
I don't know. I guess I would say, you know, it's changed. The conference championship, you know, could have a big impact both ways for people. So I've talked to other coaches, so I just kind of give you the feeling from some other coaches that, you know, they don't want to be in it. And, you know, the risk to get a bye, the reward to get a bye versus the risk to get knocked out completely. That's a really big risk.
I want nothing to do with a conference championship game. Hey, congratulations. Go ahead and hang that plaque on your wall, kid. I'm going to the college football playoff.
Into the college football playoff.
Yeah, but the auto bid, and we'll find out this year.
Yeah.
Are you better off with a bye, or are you better off just playing through?
I think in the SEC, you're better off with the bye. You've played a tough-ass schedule. You can't tell me your team's not carrying some injuries that maybe the world doesn't know about because you're a football team and you play through stuff. The bye week would be beneficial.
Okay. And this is where I guess we'll part company. I think you're better off playing through and not having to risk losing in the conference championship game. Because Bama and Georgia, if they get in, one of those two will win the college football playoff. Because they are just simply better than everybody else.
Yeah, but they're also inconsistent as hell. Like, we've seen two different versions of both of those teams.
Carson Beck's a problem. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I think Alabama's going in the right direction.
Agreed.
I think that Kalen DeBoer, Jalen Milroe is playing the best football I've ever seen him play.
Yeah, I think if you're a Bama fan, DeBoer's just got to get into the playoff, and then you've had it. Year one's been a big success. I think it's been a grinder of a season. The SEC's gotten tougher, not easier. Like it's not been easy. But I don't know, man. Maybe I feel like I'm being difficult by not agreeing with this logic of sitting guys against Ohio State or not wanting to go to your championship game. But I guess I just have an issue with, like, when it comes to football, I have an issue with the concept of, hey, we play what in college football? If you go to the playoff, what are you playing? Probably 16 games, probably, if you go to the national championship game. I have an issue when we start saying things like, man, we're Indiana, we're 10-0, Google me, I just win, we're the best thing ever, we're supposed to be this physical team, but we're going to sit our guys against Ohio State? What are you talking about? Like I'm not here for that kind of logic. I understand what he's saying. I understand the point of, hey, like if you sit them and then you lose by 50, they can't hang it on your head. But if I'm the committee, I'm still hanging it on your head because you were a coward about it. You ran from the hardest game on your schedule. I would rather, honest to God, if I'm Indiana, I would rather say, hey, we put in 110% effort. We played our absolute best game against thee, and we lost by 3 to 7 points.
Yeah.
People would respect you more, and you would get more credit, in my opinion, with the committee if you would take that route.
I think people respect you more when you go to the college football playoff.
Well, you shouldn't go to the college football playoff if you sit your guys in the only game that matters.
But now we're having a conversation about like morals and integrity. That doesn't have any place in sports. Are you kidding me? I think, again, and I just look at this. How dissimilar are these two? Well, let's see. The top 6, 7. The top 7 are identical in the AP in the college football playoff. How on earth do you have Miami 8th? How do you have Miami 8th in front of Ole Miss and Georgia? In front of Tennessee? That I don't understand. I think Miami should be 11th, as they are in the AP. And I never thought I would say this. I more align with the AP poll than I do the college football playoff, which is shocking on this show if you've watched this show for any amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
I would have Notre Dame. I would have Notre Dame just in front of Boise State. And I would have Miami probably behind Notre Dame. I don't know what are we looking for? Before I get to the comments section, what are we looking for in the college football playoff?
The best teams playing.
Do we want the 12 best teams?
Yes.
Then Notre Dame.
I do.
Listen, if that's what we want, Notre Dame doesn't belong there. Indiana doesn't belong there. Miami doesn't belong there.
SMU.
Boise doesn't belong there. SMU doesn't belong there. BYU doesn't belong there. A&M doesn't belong there. Like, I think South Carolina is one of the 12 best teams in the country.
What about Colorado?
I think Colorado is one of the 12 best teams in the country. Clemson doesn't belong there. Army doesn't belong there. Tulane doesn't belong there.
Looking at this, who do you like for the best team in the country? You still think it's Oregon?
Alabama. I think Alabama's playing the best football right now.
Yeah.
I think that I'm a big believer that it's all about the trend.
Mm-hmm.
When you lose and how you lose, that's very clearly, is that not the message that the playoff committee sent with this? When you lose and how you lose. I think Alabama is.
Yeah, I mean, there's no better example of it than Miami and Alabama, right? I mean, Miami has a terrible loss to Georgia Tech, where Cam Ward fumbles at the end of the game to cost them the game,
and they're 8th.
But my point is that like dudes like Brett McMurphy were all pissed about this. Like I'm talking about losing his mind on Twitter about the fact that Alabama jumped an idle Miami team. Because like Brett's point was, well, Miami didn't play. They didn't lose.
Doesn't have a win over a ranked opponent.
And the problem is they have a really bad loss. And so to me, I said earlier, that makes perfect sense to me. And I agree. I would look at, I think your best team in the country conversation right now, based on strength of schedule and how they're playing football. Yeah, Bama's probably the best team in the country on the football field right now.
What are we
playing?
doing?
Like you don't want to see them. And then I think you probably got to look at Georgia because that was a dominant victory.
Defense, Carson Beck is their biggest problem.
100%.
Carson Beck
look at the Texas game. Carson's back in the Texas game.
Yeah.
Awful, just abysmal first half. Terrible.
That win by Alabama against LSU in dominant fashion.
Yeah, got out to an early lead. No problem.
And Brett's point was, how do you jump Bama over Miami after Miami's idle and Bama beat Mercer? Because Miami hasn't played anybody.
Oh, and I know the last time they did play, they
looked
lost to a team
awful.
they shouldn't have lost to, dude, at home.
And Bama beat Georgia. Bama beat Missouri. Bama beat LSU.
Yeah.
And their one loss is to 11th ranked Tennessee. The Vandy loss, bad loss, but look at Vandy. Vandy's 6-4. That's not a horrendous loss.
Yeah.
Because if you look at Vandy and you look at who Vandy's beaten, right? Like their big win obviously is Alabama, but they took Missouri to the limit. Texas was 27-24.
Yeah. See, like that resume clearly paints a picture of a team that's overachieving.
I'm just telling you now, man. It is wild to me.
So again, to me, the college football playoff is supposed to be the 12 best teams in the country. Now, again, just like the MVP conversation in sports, well, what does best mean?
Yes.
Well, best is hard to define, right? I mean, obviously, you got to take into account strength of schedule, got to take into account the conference you play in, got to take into account, and I don't care if anybody's upset about it, what your past 3 seasons have looked like as far as the college football playoff is concerned. Are you someone that's there all the time? Are you someone that's never been there that's having a great year like BYU or Colorado or SMU or Boise State? Are you only here because the college football playoff expanded? Like, these are all things that I think, human beings inherently take into account. So, sorry, dude, Miami's going to get knocked down the ladder because they weren't even in the conversation of the college football playoff. And it's, what are we working on? 8 years in existence or whatever it's been? Or maybe, no, it's since 2013, I think. So, what was it, like 12 years? Like, Miami's not even been in the conversation. So, they're not going to get the same credit.
I think Colorado's the best team in this conference. I know, again, BYU fan, like, I kicked your dog.
Yeah, if you lose to ASU, season's over, bro. It's done.
I'm telling you, Colorado's the best team in this conference. And the biggest problem is Colorado's the best team in the conference. The best thing is Colorado's the best team in the conference.
And everybody wants to see Deion Sanders in the CFP.
They're 16th. Even if they win the Big 12. Let's say that, because you look at the games this week. Let's talk about Colorado being 16th.
Yeah.
What is their road? What is their road to passing Boise? They don't have one. They don't have one. And why don't they have one? Because what does this week look like as far as big games? BYU and Arizona State, the Big 12 loses that game.
Yeah,
doesn't matter who wins.
Way to say it, dude.
Doesn't matter who wins.
Great way.
The Big 12 loses that game. Let's say that Arizona State finds its way to the Big 12 championship. The Big 12 loses that game. That's not a good thing for the Big 12. Army, Notre Dame.
Should be a blowout.
No, I'm not. I want Notre Dame to win. I'm not. Now we getting into hyperbole and stuff. Indiana, Ohio State. Big 10 wins either way because I think they're both going. Here's the problem. Miami's playing Wake Forest.
Does Miami beat Wake Forest?
Yes, handily. Ole Miss, Florida. At the Swamp.
See? Like, that's a quality win.
It's a huge game for Ole Miss.
If Ole Miss wins that game, that's a quality win.
SMU at Virginia, the 5-5 Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
SMU should win that game by 37.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, SMU is the best team in the country.
Well, it's Tarrant County.
They should win that game. No, it's Dallas.
Dallas, my bad.
They should win that game by, 37? Now I'm being a dick. But you get my point.
Oh, Georgia and Massachusetts.
Yeah, UTEP, Tennessee, Texas, Kentucky, Penn State, Minnesota, Colorado, Kansas at Arrowhead, or excuse me, at GEHA Field at Arrowhead, Clemson and the Citadel. There's very few chances in the top 25 outside of BYU, Arizona State, because one of them's going to lose. There's very few chances. Is Boise going to Laramie to die? No, you're not losing to Wyoming, who's 2-8. Come on. Bama, Oklahoma. That game's in Norman. The big football game, prime time. ABC. Another chance for Alabama to be a top 5 football team. Right? Like, there's not a lot of losses on this schedule.
Well, I think that that's a great point. That's the time of year we're in, right? We're no longer talking about quality wins typically. I mean, there's like 1 or 2 opportunities in the entire slate. We're talking about bad loss season now. Hey, if you lose this game, your season's over. But we would expect you to win it. So that's the type of season we're in. And I think, this is where, again, the CFP and the conjecture that goes into it comes to the forefront, because how do you measure, let's say, what was it? Ole Miss in Florida, I think we said, how do you measure Ole Miss beating Florida at the Swamp versus, another SEC team getting a win, Bama and Oklahoma. I mean,
we're not going to get I don't believe, unless Washington beats Oregon, A&M beats Texas.
Yeah.
Possible, not likely. I don't think we're going to get transformative wins and losses in this thing right here until conference championship week. And I think you're going to see guys just absolutely get the Roto-Rooter in championship week. And I that's why, and I know it sucks, and I'm not trying to be Danny Downer here, but I want nothing to do with a conference championship game. I just want to win out, and dang, we did everything we could do to go to the Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship game. And oh, that's right. Unless you win this conference, you're not getting in.
Mm-hmm.
Point blank. Like, I look at the ACC. If Clemson loses to South Carolina, over. Right? All the ACC honks in the comment section. The ACC is the worst league in the country. The power league in the country of the four. I think it's the SEC. I think the Big 12 second. I think the Big 10's third. And I think ACC is a distant fourth. But again, I know everybody tells me the Big 10's second. Indiana's not a good football team.
Well, they're obviously
not
looking
elite.
they're looking at Oregon, and Penn.
The Penn State's not elite. That's the other one. How is Penn State fourth here? If anybody would like to explain that to me. How is Penn State fourth? I have no idea. How is Penn State fourth?
No idea.
With no huge win. Their best win. Are we really going to make the argument that their best win now is USC?
Well, Monty, they beat Ohio State, right?
No.
Oh, no, they didn't. That's right.
No, they didn't. And Heather Dinich on ESPN. Well, the committee gave Penn State credit for a close loss to the number 2 team in the country. It wasn't that close. And so Will Howard, with the interception, the pick six, and remember when that was a 21-point swing in that game, that second quarter? That's why Penn State's
Matters
fourth.
how you win a ball game.
Because other than that, I mean, the West Virginia win doesn't look as good as it once we all thought it would. Right? Bowling Green, Kent State, Illinois, UCLA, USC, Wisconsin, Washington, and Purdue. And they've got Minnesota and Maryland left. You're not going to lose. They're not going to lose.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm probably completely wrong.
All right. Let's see what kind of.
Let's get into it. And Donuts, a member for 17 months. CFP committee are stoked about the controversy. I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are. Their only job is to make sure the SEC and the Big Ten get 8. Because then it's Notre Dame 9. It is the ACC 10. It is the Big 12 11. And then it's Boise, I would think.
Barring the unforeseen.
Boise 12. And then you rank them and top 4 rated conference champions by week. Like, you're going to get 8. That's why I said if I'm Indiana, to your point, I'm Indiana, it's almost inconsequential if they lose to Ohio State. That's what this thing last night told me.
Yeah.
Because if they lose to Ohio State and they do not go to the Big Ten championship, Indiana's in.
But this is the exact flaw of I don't disagree, but this is the flaw of the college football playoff system. How is it that the number 5 team in the country, it has no consequences for losing to the best team on their schedule?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Yeah. And Donuts is right. A conference championship game's a meat grinder. I want nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. Damian Fowler, I think the college football playoff should have their decision made before the conference title games and not punish whoever loses those games. Well,
but what? Why, but again, why would we do that? See, this is my point. We're all trying to run from hard here. We're trying to say, hey, dude, I don't want to play in my conference championship game because the risk versus reward quotient isn't there. Like, getting the bye isn't as rewarding as it needs to be to make playing in the game worth it. And all I'm sitting here saying is, well, it seemed to be pretty worth it for the folks who won their conference championship game, got the bye, and then went on to win a national championship. Notice you don't hear anybody complaining when they win that game. So that's what I'm saying. I don't disagree with Lane Kiffin's logic per se. But what I am saying is that we shouldn't be running from trying to win our conference and trying to run that path.
Salty Virginia peanuts. So, Monty, the AP poll and college football poll both have Notre Dame at number 6, and you think people just have no idea what they're doing? No, I think Notre Dame's got a paved path.
Yeah.
There's no way, if you've watched a single Notre Dame game this year, you know what that team is. That team is elite on defense and horrendously flawed on offense.
Yep.
I mean, horrendously flawed.
And it's not just a Riley Leonard problem.
I mean, I would love nothing more than to sit here and argue with you that Notre Dame is the best team in the country. Bro, trust me, I would love nothing more than that. They're not one of the 15 best teams in the country.
Notre Dame, our mother.
I'm telling you, they're not the 6th. They're just not.
But again,
I've watched too much of that team and too much of other teams. And when you slam that thing together, Notre Dame shouldn't be in the same conversation with any of the SEC or the elites in the
You're
league.
not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
I think they would beat Penn State, but Penn State isn't one of the top 15 teams in the country.
mm-hmm.
They're not. But because it's the Big Ten and because it's the SEC and Notre Dame gave up their voting rights.
Yeah.
For the, hey, if we're ranked in the top 12, we're in the college football playoff. So Notre Dame is always going to be ranked in the top 12. Always. That's it. Because they're going to win their conference championship. Oh, wait,
So nobody said people don't know what they're doing. They know exactly.
what they're doing.
Yeah.
They know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Salty, you're showing your Notre Dame homerism. I don't even know that Salty is a BY or is a Notre Dame fan. I'm just telling you.
Yeah. There's a clear reason why Notre Dame is there, and it's not because of what they're doing on the football field.
No, it is not.
And then what I find so rich is that everyone's going to be like, oh my God, Notre Dame lost to whatever team in the playoff? Holy cow. It's like, no, dude, we've been saying this all year. Like, we know who these guys are.
Riley Leonard is only the starting quarterback at Notre Dame because he played well when Duke came to Notre Dame Stadium. That's the only reason that cat. That's it. That is all.
Yeah.
Has he been an elite quarterback? Has he been better than Hartman? Has he been Rick Meyer, Joe Montana? Has he been Rice or any of the other great Notre Dame quarterbacks? Riley Leonard ain't even in the conversation. He just is not. Riley Leonard's a guy who is no different than Lamar Jackson. If I need a quarterback to run me to a championship, sure, I'll take Riley Leonard. If I need a guy to diagnose a defense, stand in the pocket, and deliver the football, nah, I'm good.
Jimmy Clausen.
It was an elite quarterback at Notre Dame.
He ain't Jimmy Clausen.
I'm telling you, that offense is horribly flawed. Why do they not run the ball consistently well? Why do they not throw the ball consistently well? Why do they not do pretty much anything consistently well? Because Riley Leonard's decision-making is not great. And even when he makes a good decision, a lot of times he does not put the ball in the right spot.
Yeah.
And it's Jake Retzloff at BYU, who I think is 3 times better than Riley Leonard. But what is Jake Retzloff's biggest flaw? His receivers drop his passes, and his deep ball is inaccurate. BYU would have won the Kansas game going away if those 2 deep balls that Jake missed in the first half were to the hash instead of the boundary. Put it in the hash, let Darius Lassiter run under it. He put it on the boundary. Win or lose, you lost. I know, throw that ball to the pylon instead of an in route in the end zone where homeboy didn't even have to jump to make an interception. Did you win or did you lose? You lost.
Right.
It's that simple. Why did you lose to NIU? Because Riley Leonard couldn't beat NIU. And he's run very well. I don't even think it's controversial take.
It's not.
I really don't.
Even a little bit.
And their loss is to NIU. Granted, September, you're going to lose in September, and then beat the hell out of everybody's favorite sewing circles because that's what they're doing. Right? It's my Miami argument.
Yeah.
I love Miami. I love the way they play. That's a horrendously flawed football team.
But Cam Ward's entertaining as hell.
And Mario Cristobal's the head coach. And as long as Mario's the head coach, they're probably not going to win big games. And as long as is Cam Ward's ability to throw the ball from one sideline back to the opposite hash is allowed to happen at Miami, they're not going to win big football games.
Yeah.
That's a horribly flawed football team. Notre Dame has that NIU loss. Yes, they do.
And yet they're still sitting there.
Joseph Lindley, Alabama has a terrible loss too. They do. But what's the difference? What is the difference?
They've got get back.
They have get back. B, they've got Jalen Milroe, who, when you look at Jalen Milroe and you look at the losses and you look at Alabama's loss, that loss to Tennessee. Oh, that's right. They were the 11th ranked Tennessee Volunteers. And you look at the way that Alabama has played since that loss, they immediately bounced back and torched Missouri.
Yeah.
Then that win against LSU, and this is the other problem for the Big 12 and the ACC and most of the Big 10. That was a huge crowd. That game, I would remind you, anybody remember where that game was played? Ask Lane Kiffin where that game was played.
I was going to say, that's a Lane Kiffin special right there.
Death Valley at night. Alabama went there and won. That's not a good win. That's a huge win.
Yeah.
At LSU on national TV with everybody watching.
Dominant.
Jalen Milroe. Do you guys remember what Jalen Milroe did to LSU? He did them dirty. Well, Monty only threw for 109 yards. Yeah, he also ran for 185 yards and 4 scores. And they dominated LSU. So we can talk about their really bad loss, and I don't even think Alabama has a really bad loss. You don't want to lose to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, but you can write it off. You can write it off. You can say Vanderbilt's having a great year and they're better than they usually are. Okay.
If they had to beat Vanderbilt, they'd be the number 2 team in the country. I think they'd be behind Oregon.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But they didn't, so they're not. And Brett McMurphy and everybody else can get pissed that they jumped over Miami. Miami doesn't have a quality win. And what do we know Miami for this year? Controversial wins, controversial reviews.
Shootouts.
They don't even win convincingly. And they're being taken to the limit by pretty average-ass football teams.
Yeah.
Because that's what the ACC is.
Mostly because they don't play good football. They don't play sound football.
They do not. They do not play sound football.
Yeah.
They don't play fundamental football.
Yeah.
They are a battering ram. Damian Martinez is a battering ram. They have the spectacular moments with Cam Ward, but they're not a sound football team. So either way, Daniel Dixon saying you don't want to play a title game because you can't get another loss and keep you out of the playoffs. I would say then you're out of the playoffs just for doing that. Well, you can say that. The problem is that math doesn't add up. And I know it's frustrating. It's guys opting out of bowl games. I get it. You don't like it. But it's the smart move. If you're Indiana, you lose to Ohio State, and you don't go to the Big Ten championship, you win your last game, are you in the college football playoff? In all likelihood, you are. And if you play your starters and you win, and then you go get boat raced by Oregon, you're going to be on the line of not being in the college football playoff, in my opinion. I think it's going to be very close. If I'm Ohio State, can Ohio State lose again and still be in the college football playoff?
No.
I think you're probably right. They cannot. I don't think they can. Indiana, in the travesty of all shamockeries, if Indiana loses to Ohio State and Ohio State loses to Oregon, I think Ohio State's probably still in. But there's a chance they wouldn't be. Who knows? DK, I'm coming to the conclusion that we should have stuck with the 4 teams because the 12 team, it seems like people are complaining more because it doesn't make sense. I understood why Florida State was left out last year.
Yeah, that made perfect sense.
Somebody explain to me how SMU is ranked above BYU.
And maybe they get it right in the end. right? These are all just projections, rankings.
SMU without a quality win. Somebody explain to me how SMU is ranked ahead of BYU. Don't get it. Don't understand
East Coast bias.
I would assume. What that tells me is people, and I think this is validated, people don't watch BYU games. People don't watch SMU games. They don't. So
Listen,
I think that's the issue.
It's not fun starting a football game at 10:30 Eastern, man.
Nope. Colorado should be in over Notre Dame if they win the Big 12 for being a conference champion and playing a 13th game. I don't disagree with you. I think Colorado is better than Notre Dame. I think that Notre Dame has had the luxury of their defense is legitimately good. Our Notre Dame's defense, we, the beloved, Notre Dame, our mother, that defense is legitimate.
Notre Dame, our mother.
They're legitimately good.
Yeah.
That is a really good defense. I think Colorado's offense would score 28 points on Notre Dame. Because you can't run with Colorado. That's why Kansas, again, I've looked at this 20 ways to Sunday, and I'll tell you on Friday, and I'll look at it more tonight and tomorrow before I make a prediction on it. I have no idea how Kansas is going to beat Colorado. That game's on turf, right? It's on grass. It's at GEHA Field at stupid Arrowhead sucks of a stadium. That's great. But how are you going to defend Colorado, who is fast? Colorado is so fast. This was a great point. Maybe John Kurtz somebody made this point. Colorado's so fast that they're just as fast on grass as they are on turf. That's how fast Colorado is. Most guys that are super fast are fast on Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
He was fast on turf. He's fast on grass.
Yeah.
The frauds of the world are only fast on turf. Like AstroTurf, Sport Turf. Colorado is blazing by really good DBs on grass.
Well, and the funny thing is they play on grass at home.
And they're really fast.
Yeah.
They're fast. Like, you're not, and Jimmy Horn's not even playing right now.
Yeah.
Like, Wester is their third receiver.
Picked it up.
Gone.
Dude, Shepard, first team all hands team, bro.
Gone.
That like so much talent.
I don't know. I think, yeah, we'll see.
What else?
Phil Penzer. Colorado lost to a 5-5 Nebraska team. When did they lose the game? When did they lose that game?
Week 2.
Was it last weekend they lost? Was it 3 weekends ago? 5 weekends ago? I believe it was week 2. And I think, Phil, you're angry guy, Phil, because you whatever it is you get angry about, I think you get angry about a lot. Their loss was week 2 to Nebraska. And then they lost to K-State.
In a game where their guys were hurt.
That's why they're 16th. So what? I don't understand your point.
Yeah.
Who has Colorado play and beat a serious team? I think Utah's a serious team. Texas Tech's a serious team. I think. Do they have a great win? They don't.
Well, and here's the problem.
But then why is Miami ranked ahead of Colorado?
Right. Yeah. But what you can't do if you're a hater on Colorado is say, oh, well, Utah's got a terrible record. Yeah, but that doesn't mean people don't respect Utah.
And I don't know how to break it to the Colorado haters. They're legitimately good.
Yeah.
Shedeur Sanders is, I think, arguably the best quarterback in the country.
Shedeur Sanders is the best player not in the Heisman race, legit.
The best player in college football is Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
That their offensive line is their offensive line great? No. Is it wildly better than it was last year? Yes. Their defensive line is the best defensive line. It's either Colorado or Utah. And I also think Colorado's defense, it's either Colorado or Utah for the best defense in the league. K-State's gotten beat down a little bit now.
Oh,
but
what about Iowa State?
Iowa
They've
State's
disappeared.
Yeah, they've disappeared. I would agree with that. But if I have to explain to you, Colorado's record or Colorado's case, I think you're just being a red ass.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Pretty straightforward.
Jimmy Otson, hello. Where Miami falls in the top 12 is irrelevant. If they win the ACC championship, they'll get the 3rd seed bye. Probably. Which, again, I just ask you, is the ACC champion more worthy? And this is why these polls matter. Is Miami more worthy of a bye? Let's say Miami, to Jimmy's point, Miami wins the ACC championship. Are they more worthy than Colorado or BYU? I don't know how you make that case. How many good teams are in the ACC?
I mean,
I think Clemson's good.
They're okay. I mean, they're the same thing as Notre Dame. They don't really have an offense. The defense shows up some weeks and not others.
And Klubnik, when Klubnik plays well, they win.
Yeah.
But if we really look at Clemson, you lost to Georgia and it wasn't close. You got your ass beat. You lost to Louisville and it wasn't close. You got your ass beat. And so I go back and ask the same question. What's the quality win? If Colorado sucks because look at their losses, okay, what's the quality win for Clemson?
Or Miami?
Pitt? Pitt's a complete fraud. And you had to hang on to beat Pitt. Pitt is not a good football team. That's a 3-3 team in the ACC. You won late against Virginia Tech. 48-31, you handled Virginia, Wake Forest, Florida. You only scored 29 on a really bad Florida State defense. You beat Stanford handily, you beat NC State handily, and you beat Appy State handily. So you've got the Citadel in South Carolina. If Clemson loses to South Carolina, I don't want to hear 2 words about Clemson.
Yeah.
And I think Clemson is going to lose to South Carolina. That's going to be a hell of a football game. Okay, SMU. Show me the SMU quality win. Well, Nevada, no, and they barely beat Nevada. Houston Christian, well, I mean, no. BYU, no, you lost. TCU, no. Florida State, no. Louisville, not anymore. Stanford, no. Duke, no. Pitt, no. Boston College, and you had to hang on late to beat Boston College. No. Virginia, no. Cal, you mean 1 in 5, Cal? No. But all of a sudden, SMU is ranked ahead of BYU, and SMU would get, if SMU wins the conference championship, they would get the bye. Somebody math that for me. Somebody math that for me, because I don't.
Conference championship, bro.
I don't understand.
It's that simple.
Now, if you're Indiana, should you try to play for the conference championship? No. If you're SMU, well, you damn well better, because if you don't win it, you're not getting in. You're getting one team in.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Is what it is. You don't have to like it, right? Where's Mike Smith when I need him? You don't have to like it, but you better learn to love it.
That's one of those dumb Monty sayings, man.
Well, tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Tell me I am wrong. Never wrong. Calford gets 10 Monty Show. Thank you, Calford. Appreciate it. Ooh, a brisk hour number 1 of the show.
Yes.
Let's run through some comments. Jay McClanahan. Whoa, comment dump. Salty Virginia Peanuts. Jake, name a week in which Notre Dame's defense didn't show up. Come on, you're better than that. Oh, really?
Excuse me.
Oh, really?
Are you serious, bro?
You might have heard of Northern Illinois and not in DeKalb. They played that game at the stadium.
Are you kidding?
You're out of your mind,
bro.
I'm trying to understand why you can't literally.
He's trolling. He must be trolling.
It's not possible to make a case that Notre Dame's the 6th best team in the country. It's not. When you lose and you give up more than you scored against Northern Illinois, I'm going to say your defense didn't show up. Are you out of your mind?
Bro, if Notre Dame was a legit team, you shut out NIU.
What are we? Do you understand that you gave up 400 yards to Northern Illinois?
So excuse me for saying that
What?
the defense is inconsistent. Like, yes, they've played,
Do you
more
understand they gave up 10 yards per pass to Northern Illinois?
Come on, bro.
And you're asking me to show you a week where the defense didn't show up?
Come on, man.
Look, man, I again.
And this is a Notre Dame fan telling you this. Come on.
Take your emotion out of it. Take your emotion out of it. Notre Dame is a good, not great football team. You cannot make the argument they belong in the college football playoff.
Again, dude, I'm not trying to hate on you, but that's an incredible thing to say like that. Like,
God damn.
Come
Jay
on.
McClanahan. Why doesn't the conference have a weekend like B-ball where they play conference versus conference? That would be great for ratings and terrible for football.
Yeah.
You get those games early in the season. It's why the Citadel. It's why Mercer. Because the SEC has figured out that you don't have to play big games to impact the humans making this decision. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
You don't have to play big games.
You can beat the hell out of Mercer and send a message.
Yes. Yes. Anthony Eason. So would SMU, Clemson, and Miami. What? Would be what? Calford. 1 and 5 should be 5 and 1. Well.
Shoulda, coulda, bro.
I hate Boise State, but the way it is, and we need help to have a rematch with them. Who's we?
UNLV.
Well, you had it. Okay. I don't hate Boise. They just don't belong as one of the top 4 conferences champions in the country. You want to talk about a resume that no one has.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing to think that Boise with that record would be better than Colorado, would be better than.
Yeah, it surprises me that Boise State is ranked where they are. Because the clear plight of the G5 is, hey, you got to be the highest ranked, G5 in your in the whole group.
Yeah.
And then obviously win your championship. So I don't know how you look at their resume and be like, oh, well, they're better than all these teams, because they're just not.
D-Rock Irish. Inconsistent is a poor word choice. Okay. D-Rock Irish, for 3 straight days, you have been filtered. So, and I'm glad you commented. If you get filtered again, you're probably not coming back.
And that's not us doing that, bro.
Because YouTube's track record is, if you get filtered 4 times, usually you're not going to be able to comment. So,
and by the way, what word choice would you use? Because I think inconsistent describes Notre Dame on the football field about as best as you can describe them.
Defense has been pretty level. The offense has been, like, I just look at, why are we fighting over Notre Dame? Do you guys really think do you think that's the 6th best team in the country? Is there anybody, and I know most people don't watch Notre Dame football. They haven't had matchups this year. Why would you? But can you really make the case? The Virginia game. And Riley Leonard, this is probably his best game as a passer. 214, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. And if you're the 6th best team in the country, is that all you do against Virginia? 35-14? That's it? That's all you do. Do you guys understand that if Riley Leonard cracks 200 yards passing, he's a legend? Riley Leonard, 158, 163, 112. He put up 112 yards on Purdue, one of the worst teams in the country, in all of FBS. 154 against Miami of Ohio. 163. Oh, man, they beat Louisville. Quality win, Marty. 17-23 for 163.
Against Louisville.
229 against Stanford. 203 against Georgia Tech. 178 against Navy.
I just don't know why it's so controversial to say. The offense just isn't great. Like, you're playing bad competition and you're not doing, like, you're not throwing up big numbers.
I don't think that when I look at Notre Dame, Their biggest problem is going to be that when they face the big boys, that you just don't have a way to go punch somebody in the mouth offensively.
Yeah.
You don't have a way. How do you lean on, if you're Notre Dame, how do you lean on Alabama's defense? How do you lean on? I would fear for Notre Dame's offense against BYU's defense. Where Riley Leonard, because BYU's defense is one of the best scheme disguise defenses in the country. Jay Hill is elite at disguise and scheme.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what Riley Leonard struggles with. When you have backers that are off the line of scrimmage, he routinely struggles to diagnose pre-snap blitz. It's one of Riley Leonard's biggest struggles, in my opinion, is that when I look at his tape, Riley Leonard can't say that linebacker's coming, even though he's 7 yards off. That linebacker's coming. Routinely misses pre-snap reads. So if you run into any of the teams in front of you, Indiana, who Jake thinks is the most physical team he's ever seen, if you're a Notre Dame fan, do you have confidence you can beat Indiana's defense? Because I do not. Now, I'll put our defense up against anybody's offense. Anybody. Notre Dame's defense against anybody's offense, happy to do it. Notre Dame's offense against just about nobody's defense. Because are we really physical at the point of attack? Can you honestly say that Notre Dame, and this is a football team where we have lived and died on physicality in the trenches. Why did we lose the Teo game against Alabama? Well, his girlfriend died. He was emotional. No, we got our ass beat up front. That's why we lost that game. And it happens routinely. So we can sit here and try to like make up some fallacy. Marcus Freeman ain't that dude.
No.
You want a really good defense? Marcus Freeman. Who are you, Matt Eberflus? Essentially. The best guy you could get at Notre Dame to play quarterback is Riley Leonard. Will Howard was never coming to Notre Dame. Wasn't happening. Who are you thankful you didn't get? DJ Uiagalelei, who you were talking to.
Never.
Anyway. I get emotional about Notre Dame because I think that team should be far better than they are. I think Notre Dame every year should be competing for a national championship and not have it handed to you. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to me. My USC friends routinely bust my chops because of the schedule we play. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, what schedule?
That we are not a dominant performer week in and week out against your cousins, like Cars and Coffee, Honda, Toyota Drift Club. That we're not dominating those people. That's a problem. That's a problem. Notre Dame thought they could put Rudy out there. Stop. Anthony Eason, Pitt would win the Big 12 too. They would not even compete.
That's just a terrible take, dude. Again.
How long have I told you since almost the jump? Pitt was a fraud. Have I been wrong about anything I've said about Pitt all year long? No, I have not.
Pitt wouldn't even.
Pitt would be middle of the table. They'd be where they are in the ACC. And this year they might be a little higher up because the Big 12 is terrible this year. It's not been a good year. I don't think, let's roll through some of these because I appreciate you guys. The comment section today has been remarkable. I don't think these Notre Dame fans in the chat can be objective. Clearly not. Virginia Peanuts, score less than 20 points. That's not the defense's fault. You gave up 400 yards to Northern Illinois.
Yeah, what do you like? What do you
You're
mean
really
we're being stupid?
Wait. You're defending that performance against Northern Illinois in any way, shape, or form. You gave up, I think the total number of yards was 388. You gave up 388 yards to Northern Illinois, and you're happy about that? You think that would... Maybe my bar is just different. Maybe my bar is different. There's no way that defense with that talent, and they were healthy at that point, there's no way that they should give up 200 yards to Northern Illinois.
It's embarrassing, dude.
Come on.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, have you watched a single snap of Notre Dame football? I just don't understand how you're like, oh yeah, they played well, or like that was like you're good with that. Like,
what are we talking about? John Hamm, I'm not a Notre Dame fan, but you have to replace them with someone. Who would that team be? Well, that's a fair question. This is what I've been saying about this. I think that Notre Dame should be just in front of SMU. And really, if it were me, the top, I would have Oregon, Ohio State, Alabama would be third, Texas would be fourth. I would have Georgia fifth, Ole Miss sixth. And then I think you get into a bit of a malaise, right? I think Penn State anywhere below 6 is fine. I would probably have them 10th. I think Tennessee's defense. I think Tennessee's defense is awesome. But you want to talk about inconsistent? That team in their losses has just been a shell of themselves. I would probably have Colorado top 10, right? I mean, if we leave the top, again, Oregon, Ohio State, Alabama, where would I have Texas?
Certainly top 5.
Georgia 4, Texas 5. I would probably have Ole Miss 6. I would have Tennessee or Miami.
Tennessee
7. Then I look at Notre Dame. Colorado or Notre Dame? Man, I think that's tough.
It's probably Notre Dame. Notre Dame's been there before. Bigger brand, reputation. Probably Notre Dame.
I think I'd put South Carolina 11th. So if you have Notre Dame 9th, you have Colorado 10, South Carolina 11. I think I would probably at that point then I think BYU would be 12. I think, and this is then where you get murky.
Yeah.
This is then where you get murky because I
think it's hard to say who do you replace him with at 6th. I think, if you're
it's a tough question to rank these guys right now. With the way this is,
yeah,
I think is very difficult to rearrange it because you just don't have an understanding of what are they looking at, bro. Yeah. What are they looking at?
Yeah,
that's what I struggle with. What are they? I don't understand what they're looking at. Maybe that's just Maybe that's just me. It is what it is. McClanahan, Monty, would you take out or replace? Who would you take out and replace with the top 12 teams?
That's just really tough. Yeah,
I think we just did that.
Yeah.
Damian Fowler, stymie NIU, and the biggest problem, NIU's been bad since. Oh, because they were bad.
Yeah, I just don't. I am dumbfounded by the fact that people in the chat today are defending Notre Dame's lack of performance. I mean, I agree the defense is solid, but there's no way to say that they're, somehow an elite team. They're just
flawed,
not, dude. They're flawed as hell.
In this incarnation of the world,
yeah,
I think it's probably easier to say who do I think is better than Notre Dame. Is Penn State better than Notre Dame? I worry about Notre Dame's offense going to Happy Valley and beating Penn State's defense.
I'm sorry. Going where?
Happy Ending Valley.
Happy Ending Valley. Okay. Just
going to the Pedos and beating Penn State's defense. I worry about that. Is Notre Dame better than Indiana? I don't think so. Notre Dame is not better than Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee. Notre Dame and BYU is going to be a really close game. Is Notre Dame better than Colorado? No. Are they better than Clemson? Yes. South Carolina? No. Army? We're going to find out. I think they are. Are they better than ASU? That'd be a tight game.
That to me is a game, depends where you're playing it. If that's in Tempe, man, you're fighting for your life.
That's a tough game. And you also got to remember, Notre Dame hasn't traveled much.
Yeah.
Notre Dame is
and
not.
when they have traveled, it's been pretty close.
And their true road games are not really.
I mean, A&M is basically their
That's
one
it.
big road game.
That's it. You forgot ASU. Hi, Fat Jesus. Good to see you, friend. Alabama 3rd and Georgia 5th because records don't matter. No. I'm telling you who. You didn't ask me who's based on record. You said who are the best teams in the country.
Yeah.
Alabama, in my opinion, right now is the 3rd best team in the country. And I have questions now with Seth McLaughlin being out.
That's a huge loss, bro.
That's the guy. He was probably winning the Remington as the best center in the country. Tore his Achilles in practice this week. He's out for the year for Ohio State. How many more losses can they take on that offensive line? I mean, you've got 3 guys now. Your best center, your best left tackle. At some point, those numbers, the margins squeeze on you.
Yeah.
Because I don't care who you are. If you don't have 10 offensive linemen that can play on your roster. Most guys have 7 or 8. Elite units are 8. And they're already well past that. I think they're getting contributions from 9 different guys now. I mean, at some point that catches up to you.
Yep.
I think Alabama, if it were dollars to donuts, Alabama's better than Ohio State. Sorry, Caleb Downs. I think that's just the reality of it. I think Ohio, at some point, man, it just sucks he got hurt. Because I do think that he would have won the Remington Trophy.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would have. But, you know. VCV gel. Okay. The fact these dudes are getting so bent out of shape at the fact the committee agrees with the rest of the country is hilarious. The Big 12 is nothing more than a glorified G5. Well, who said they're not?
Yeah.
Who on the which one of us made the argument that the Big 12 is elite? The idea that you have BYU behind SMU is laughable. The fact that you have Colorado at 17, can't lose to K-State like that. Totally get it. But you're telling me that there are 16 teams in the country better than Colorado? Yeah, I'm telling you, you should
don't watch Big 12 football.
You should go to rehab, dude.
Yeah.
Because that's just not the case. That's not the case at all.
By the way, thanks for watching and commenting and hating. Appreciate you.
Stephen Keel, your picks are fraudulent. Penn State is way better than you put on because of feelings, not factual. Okay. Well, let's talk about facts.
This is incredible, bro.
Do you guys understand that you make this so incredibly easy? I mean, I'm not even. Okay. Let's talk about facts.
Right. Yeah.
Outside of their loss to Ohio State, what's the win? Was it that you had to take one of the worst teams in the conference to overtime on the road to win? And remind you, how many points did that vaunted Penn State defense give up to USC? 30. You gave up 30 to US. Okay, well, let's throw out the Ohio State loss, and now let's make excuses and throw out a 30-point defensive performance. Okay, so Purdue, well, we did beat Purdue, Monty, 49-10. That's one of the worst teams in FBS.
And everybody agrees.
Washington, 35-6. Well, that game was in Seattle. Oh no, that's right. That was at the Sandusky compound. Wisconsin. That's a good road win. 28-13. UCLA, Illinois, Kent State, Bowling Green, West Virginia. West Virginia is a good road win. What resume do you speak of, sir? Drew Aller, the world beater Drew Aller? Drew Aller or Riley Leonard? Never seen him in the same place, so I'm not sure that they're any different humans. I think they're the same guy.
Yeah, they're a clone of each other.
Yeah, I've never seen them in the same place. If somebody has, please let me know. Are you telling me that Penn State's offense is somehow a world beater? If your tight end doesn't get crazy against SC, do you win that game? Are you the 4th best team in the country? You're not the 4th best team in the country.
But we're emotional.
No, we're fraudulent.
We're fraudulent. Yeah, right. Okay.
They're not the 4th best team in the country. Come on. stymie. But it was week 2, and per Monty in Colorado, week 2 was a lifetime ago. I didn't say it doesn't matter. But what's the reality of losing in week 2 versus week 10? Do you really think anybody remembers? Look at Colorado. Do you think anybody, when you're sitting around saying, well, they lost to K-State, where's the yeah, but? There's not one. Well, they're in the Big 12, and Deion Sanders, and half that table hates Deion Sanders. So is the yeah, but they were without their 2 best wide receivers in that game and their best defensive player and the best player in college football in the second half? No. So there is no yeah, but. If you lost in week 2, that loss is almost meaningless. Explain to me, you lost week 2 to Northern Illinois. The Beloved did. And they've had nobody to play. Are we really worried about an NIU loss? Because I know what they said at the table. It's NIU. It was a misnomer. It was a one-off. That was 1 week. You know the difference? They're going to fight for Notre Dame. They're not going to fight for Deion Sanders.
Nope.
Deion's going to have to take it with violence. If Deion doesn't win the Big 12 championship, does Colorado get to the college football playoff?
Nope.
If Notre Dame doesn't win their conference, they're not in a conference. Are they getting in? Yeah, they are. Is it a massive advantage? Yes, it is. That's not one of the 6 best teams in the country. Is Colorado one of the 12 best teams in the country? There is not a question in anybody's mind about that. So you can sit here and say that, well, Colorado in week 2, and you don't have to like it, but tell me how I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Is Penn State one of the 4 best teams in the country? Not a chance.
Nah.
Do they even compete at Georgia, at Bama? Because when you're judging a team, you got to judge them only on what they do on the road and if they lose at home. They lost at home to Ohio State, the best team they saw, and they damn near lost on the road at SC. They're not one of the 4 best teams in the country.
But Notre Dame hasn't lost at home, right?
To Northern Illinois.
Wait, that's right, they did.
Impressive win in A&M that doesn't look so impressive now.
Does Penn State go to Death Valley at night and dominate LSU?
Yes, eye patch. I'd far rather lose in week 2 than week 10. It's wild to me. It's wild to me that we're really trying to make the case that somehow Colorado's not one of the 12 best teams in the country, but Penn State is. And I'm here for it. Let's see. Who else? Jay McClanahan. Monty. Hey, Monty. How far can Colorado go in the CFP? I think Colorado. Yeah. Colorado. And if you look at, let's play the game. Put Colorado where BYU is.
Right.
Colorado, Ohio State. That's going to be a tough place to go and win.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. You don't have your best offensive line. You're probably on your 2s and 3s on the offensive line at Ohio State. Are the defensive tackles at Colorado playing well? Yeah, arguably they're one of the better units in the country right now. And if you get Will Howard out of the pocket, do bad things happen to Ohio State?
Yep.
So are they going to get blown out? They're not.
And by the way, just want to point this out, if it hasn't been pointed out enough. Colorado's speed on the outside is as fast as anything Ohio State's seen in the Big Ten.
So if you're Colorado, you're going to be in every game.
Yeah.
The biggest question is, can that Colorado offensive line hang on against I think, a really good defense at Ohio State?
Yeah.
I think they can. Can they beat Boise State? They can. Can they beat Oregon? Well, I think that would absolutely be a grudge match.
The revenge game of the century.
And I think they can. They can go. They're going to be in every game. It's going to be a matter of, can the offensive line hang? That's the single biggest question about Colorado.
Yeah.
Can their offensive line hang with elite defenses? Probably not. Probably not. But that secondary against Dylan Gabriel, I'd love to see that matchup. Because this is a very different ball club than it was a year ago at Autzen Stadium. A very different ball club.
Yeah.
And I'm a Deion believer. I think, and he talked about how he's got his kickstand down at Colorado. If Deion leaves after this year, I think it'd be tragic at Colorado. But how does he not get offers?
Yeah.
How is his phone not just exploding? If you're the Jets,
and again, everybody in the comments section
You're
after
the
the show
Raiders?
wants to say, "Oh, well, you guys are idiots. He's never leaving. He loves where he's at." We never said he didn't love being in Colorado. But what I'm saying is that if you've got all this opportunity knocking on your door, you're going to listen. So again, and this is what people don't want to say, if you're willing to listen, you're closable.
yeah,
That's what nobody wants to say.
Yep.
Does he want to leave? No, I don't think he wants to leave. But the reality is, if a good enough opportunity comes along, everyone's got a number, bro. Everyone's got a number.
yeah. I'm very curious. In the comments section, do you believe that Colorado is one of the top 12 teams in the country?
Do you believe?
I have no doubt. I've seen, again, and look at the rankings. I've seen all of these teams multiple times. So what I have to figure out is, how are they? They're better than Texas A&M. They're better than BYU. They're better than SMU. They're better than Boise. Are they better than Tennessee? Man, I think that
depends where that's
defense
played, dude.
that defense would feast on Colorado's offensive line. That Tennessee defense,
Yeah.
man. Are they better than Georgia? No. Ole Miss? No. Miami? Yes. Bama? No. Notre Dame? Yes. Indiana? Yes. Penn State? Yes. Texas? Ohio State? Oregon? No. So in that logic, I think that they are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think they're the 8th best team in the country. I'd love to see a Colorado BYU conference championship game.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Jay Hill has that defense doing some things. And if Jake Retzloff is lit, that BYU wide receiver room is maybe one of the only in the country that can compete with Colorado and put up enough points. But whittle that down. Travis Hunter takes out Darius Lassiter. Chase Roberts is always open.
Yeah, but so is Shepard.
I agree. I'm not saying, listen, I'm not saying I think Colorado's offense is better, but can BYU score 28 points on Colorado's defense? Yes.
Yeah, and what I would say is BYU has the advantage in the run game if Roderick will get out of his own damn way and run the football.
I would agree. They have far better running backs. And I just think when you watch Colorado play, what you see is balance now. They've never been, I shouldn't say never. The last year, they were not balanced. They had to throw the football. Defenses pinned their ears back, sent 7 against Shedeur, and covered with a shell. And Shedeur wasn't A, good enough, or B, protected well enough to make the throw.
Yeah.
Now
he is.
He's protected. He's developed. He's well coached. The ball is in the right time and space. His misses are good misses for quarterbacks. I mean, it's awfully difficult to look at Colorado and compare them to any of these other ball clubs and say to yourself, well, there are a few defenses that can run with Colorado. Very few. Texas is one of them. Tennessee is one of them. And I just think Georgia, with the pressure that we've seen now that front seven's healthy, I don't think Shedeur has time to do that. So that deep play almost goes away against Georgia's defense because of Colorado's offensive line. Alabama, the same. I don't know what I would make of an Oregon-Colorado matchup. I think that'd be a 7 to 10 point game. Whoever hits the home run probably wins that game.
Yeah.
But I think that Colorado, just the growth at Colorado has been, I don't know that we've ever in college football seen that level of growth in a football team inside of a 12-month window.
Mm-hmm.
Because where they were a year ago, they're unrecognizable now. The job that Shermer and Warren Sapp have done, it's unthinkable. The defensive tackles, the gap domination that you're getting out of that Colorado defensive line is, I didn't even think they were physically capable of that, even in the summer.
Right.
And they've consistently won the battle in the gaps up front, which has allowed their linebackers to flow a little better, which is why they're so good at covering the flat. because you don't have to backstop the defensive tackles anymore. So you watch Colorado, and it allows Shiloh to run downhill to the flat. It allows the linebackers. You'll notice if you watch, depending on the offense and the scheme, watch how wide the linebackers at Colorado get. And why are they able to be that wide? They're playing in the B gap. The linebackers are lined up on the outside edge of the B gap in Colorado. Yeah. Why are they able to do that? Well, because the defensive tackles aren't giving up the A gap. And they're sticking their ass out, slowing down the B gap. So even if you flow, if you take that first step to the outside, you can still get home to the B gap because you're not beating Colorado through the A gap anymore. And it allows your linebackers to get to the flat 2 steps earlier. And in college football, 2 steps is a lifetime. So when you ask me, hey, why? That's why Colorado's so much better, because their defensive tackles are winning. Their linebackers are wider. Their safety, Shiloh Sanders, and nobody's talking about him because I think he missed those weeks with the broken arm. That dude is tackling now. When he was out, somebody taught kid how to tackle because they
need him to.
I think they're winning because of their defense. They were always going to be in shootouts. Yeah. So anyway, I'm telling you that, and they're better. Before I move off of Colorado, because now I'm just knob slobbing Colorado, but they're way better than they were at Nebraska. I mean, they're just a better football team than they were at Nebraska, hands down. Let's see. Tanner Plummer, as of now, Colorado doesn't have a resume to be in the top 10. They don't have a resume. The things that have going for them is the eye test, Shedeur Sanders, Hunter, and of course, Deion. I would disagree with that. I don't think Deion, I think in a lot of corners, Deion is not a help. I think he's a hurt. I think a lot of people, because you look at the dudes that make up that, you're talking about Nevada's athletic director. You're not talking about pro Deion guys.
Random dude you haven't heard of or don't know.
Like, one of the people on selection committee is a writer for USA Today. She's like, you're talking about old heads.
Yeah.
Where's the 40-year-old?
Where's the Kenny Dillingham aged person on the committee?
There's not. Ward Manuel at Michigan.
That's your chair.
Right? You have very little Deion representation on that committee. And you either love Deion or you hate Deion. Nobody is indifferent about him.
Yeah.
That's the reality of being prime. Right? That's the reality of being prime. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know eventually how all that shakes out. But
take it out of their hands. Win the Big 12.
I mean, that defensive front, as plainly as I can say it. And if you look at the opponents that they have played, you're looking at Nebraska's got a pretty good offensive line. Baylor, the problem with Baylor is that game was so early in the year. I don't think that Dave Aranda had saved his job yet. Oh, wait, he hasn't saved his job at all. They're just gifting it to him. UCF has a really good offensive line. And you held them, like UCF, that performance against UCF, you held RJ Harvey under 100 yards. Let that sink in that RJ Harvey averaged 4.8 yards a carry. And on the whole, UCF averaged 4 yards per rush. Do you guys understand that RJ Harvey averages 6.8 yards a carry on the season and is 1,328 yards and 19 scores? And Colorado dominated him. And then you start looking at, okay, well, you know what, Marty? Maybe they just had a tough game, bro. Okay, I'm down with that. Let's look at Texas Tech. Look at Taj Brooks, because Taj Brooks is a stud, right? Taj Brooks against Colorado, 31 carries, 137 yards, 4.4 yards per carry. He averages 5 yards a carry 1,184 yards on the season. The two best running backs that they faced this year, they held them. So I also look at I look at Taj's game log, right? And you start saying to yourself, hey, obviously he put up big numbers, 31 for 137. It's a good game. It's 4.4 yards a carry, right? And you start looking at, Baylor, he averaged 5 yards a carry, 4.9 against Iowa State. Like the better defenses he's seen, he did better against those defenses that he did against Colorado. So you can't look at, and I know that this is what we love to do. Well, there's no Monties. That Colorado defensive line is dominating in a lot of situations. So
good talk.
Good talk. All right. Let's get it. Did Calford gave us 10 more. Monty Show. Let's go. The stadium guy, James, for $5. The Rudy comment was a joke. I agree. Notre Dame isn't top 10. We're here to have fun talking about sports. Yes, your bar is different. You go to Cheers. Like that's another joke. Cheers. Where we all are, we know each other. We want to know, you want to be amongst friends. Woody Harrelson.
I'm not too familiar with that.
Ted Danson.
I'm unfamiliar with it.
Yay!
I get wound up about certain things. Like I am this college football playoff system's broken. It's broken.
And yet here we are. It's what we have to work with.
Yeah. I'm telling, this is why the Super League will happen.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I had a very interesting conversation with a college football guy yesterday about Greg Sankey and the Super League. And the belief is that Greg Sankey doesn't want the Super League because he knows that the SEC schools in the Super League will not do as well in a Super League as they do currently. That a Super League model opens it up more to the field versus the SEC.
It does. The SEC gets a lot of reputational credit.
And the question is, how many teams make the playoffs in the College Football Super League? Because the model that's being floated is $1 billion purse every year with wins and losses the only indicator of who's in and who's out of the playoffs.
Right.
It is an NFL model. That's it. But you have 12 now. Are 16 teams getting into the playoffs in college football? And the other thing that I think some people are concerned about, how many games are we going to have kids play in a year? Are we going to 17 games? Because one of the things that the College Football Super League and the private money guys are pushing is, hey, we're going to kick off in middle of August. And we're going to play fully through December.
Yeah, you mean like the NFL does?
Yes. And you'd get 3 bye weeks. And I think you'd be pushing 15 to 17 games in the regular season.
I agree college football needs to expand the time they play. Like how, like the whole, and if it's more buys, totally get it. But the whole thing of like, oh, week 0. And like, I just think there's several of those things in college football that I think could be streamlined. And I think there's a way to figure it out where you're playing a little bit longer, but the wear and tear that actually gets put on the kids maybe is about the same. And you do that through scheduling and, trying to streamline travel a bit. But I think the thing with the Super League is that you have an opportunity to create an environment where it is divisional, just like it is in the NFL. And you can have your wild card weekend, if you will, and you can, there's just a lot. I feel like it just opens the sport up to a lot more straightforward.
A lot.
Like you either won or you lost.
How many teams got screwed? A lot.
And so again, this is the thing with Greg Sankey.
21 Savage.
Yeah, it's a 21 Savage reference.
A lot.
The thing with Greg Sankey is he's got a responsibility to make sure the SEC does as good as possible. And I would be milking it too. At some point, though, at some point, there's going to be enough people who push for the Super League because they see the opportunity that Greg's not going to be able to stop it. And I don't know how long that'll take.
Yeah, I agree. You're a little chilly over there, Jim?
Yes, I am.
Why don't you so we came down here today, a real quick aside. We came into the studio today, and it was warm in the studio today because it's like 4 degrees outside.
Right.
It's not 4 degrees outside, but little Jakey's cold.
Yeah.
Speaking of cold, let's deliver you the latest on the Pac-12's TV deal after this from the Advocates.
Hi, Sarah. Your dad told me about your accident. Can you tell me how it happened?
Still kind of going through it, but I was stopped at a light, and then this car I heard it come up behind me, and bam, and it's kind of like in slow motion.
Hour number 2 of the Monty Show, presented by our good friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. And when you're in the hospital and you need clear, risk-free legal advice about how you need to pursue your future, that's why you go to The Advocates. Because I think so many people, when you get into a car accident, or you get hit by a semi-truck, or you get hurt at work, or you get attacked by your neighbor's dog, you immediately like, oh yeah, I'll call my insurance company. Wrong answer, bro. Call The Advocates. Let The Advocates handle the claims process. Let them deal with your insurance company, because your insurance company does not work for you. You need to understand that. I will tell you again, in my opinion, insurance is a scam. You pay them, you pay them, you pay them. Oh, I have hurricane insurance. Oh, that's right. Water did damage. It wasn't a hurricane or wind. It was water. So we're not going to pay your claim. That's what insurances do. You were driving 0.8 of 1 millimeter over the speed limit. Yeah, we're not going to pay your claim. You've got to have the guy that'll stand next to you and fight for you, that'll advocate for you, so you can get back to the best version of yourself. And the best part about working with The Advocates, you never reach into your pocket. Get to theadvocates.com. Talk to an injury attorney, no matter where you are, no matter where you're listening to us, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify. Hello, Spotify. We are on Spotify. Wherever you listen, make sure that you get to theadvocates.com and chat with an injury attorney live online, and it won't cost you a dime. Let's talk about the Pac-12 making big moves in their TV deal. We've been talking about this for several weeks. We told you exclusively on this show, and as was confirmed by the national media, the Pac-12 has been speaking to TV partners. Fox and ESPN notably are back at the table and talking to the Pac-12, who have now made a bombshell announcement yesterday that they have partnered with Octagon to finalize their TV deal and bring it in. And I think this is a huge step forward. Sources in the TV industry yesterday told me that this signals a TV deal for the Pac-12 conference is in fact close. Most people believe that it'll be ESPN and Fox and some other partner to regionalize the Pac-12 TV deal. Could very well be somebody like a CW, but there is no doubt here that the Pac-12 partnering with Octagon in a public forum, making an announcement, doing a press release, that tells you that the Pac-12 TV deal is close. And Jake, I don't think he can spin it. Yesterday was a very big day for the Pac-12.
Absolutely. And I think that, this move clearly signals that the TV deal is close. I think obviously Octagon has a clear track record of helping different business entities get stuff like this done. And I think that the biggest thing for the Pac-12 is just making sure that this TV deal comes in at a reasonable number. Everyone wants to say, or has speculated that, hey, maybe the Pac-12 is going to reach and get, 12 or 13 million a year. I just don't see that happening. I think 10 is the number that we're looking at. 10 would be, a nice round number. I think that would be the top of the mountain that someone would be willing to pay you currently, per school per year. Just because of the brands you have and frankly, the brands you don't have anymore. It's not lost on people that you're going from, a power conference to basically trying to create the best G5 conference out there. And the only question that I really have about this Octagon situation is how long does it take them to get the deal done? Is this something where, we're talking about getting this done before the end of the year, and then you can start Q1 of next year going out and trying to get, the AAC schools or whatever, starting that next play if you will, an expansion. Like, that's what I think the Pac-12 kind of has to look at here. And to me, you partnered with Octagon to go ahead and close the deal, get it done as soon as you can. That way you can go out and talk about, kind of rounding out the conference, because there's definitely still expansion that needs to happen. But there's no doubt that this is a win for the Pac-12. There's forward momentum. They're in a great spot. I'm really curious about, timeline. I would think that the goal would be to try to get this done, and finalized and hammered out before the year's over. That way you can start 2025 on kind of a higher, more positive note with going out and getting more schools to add to the league.
Yeah, and I think Octagon has a massive track record. Octagon is an entertainment behemoth. And I think part of this, the importance of this, is perception versus reality. The overwhelming success of the ESPN, Turner, Warner Brothers Discovery Big 12 announcement, I think you had to announce this as soon as possible. And I think that's why the Pac-12 handled this perfectly, because there's no doubt that announcement from the Big 12 had an impact in the offices of the Pac-12. I'm told there was some surprise that deal came together so quickly for the Big 12, that they were able to get an agreement in place with ESPN and Warner Brothers Discovery that essentially boils down to a licensing agreement between ESPN and the Big 12 to allow ESPN to give their content to Turner at TNT, Warner Brothers Discovery to put Big 12 basketball and football games on TNT. I think this is the absolute necessary next step. I was talking to several people in TV yesterday who believe the necessary number is $10 million a year. The Pac-12, I think, is likely to get a deal that's at $10 million a year. 12 or 15, I'm with you. I just have talked to too many people that say you just don't have the value to deliver that.
Right.
And I think had they gotten UNLV and the Las Vegas market, which I think was just so critical to survival of the Mountain West, I think then you'd be looking at something more than $10 million. I think the problem for the Pac-12 is you have great football brands that play in small markets, and delivering the value required to get more than $80 million a year is going to be very difficult. And then on top of that, you're going to have a deal that is a quid pro quo. Okay, you do this, I'll do that.
Right.
That's what you're essentially saying to ESPN, to Fox, to the CW, because I think there's no question now that one of the other things that this deal with the Big 12 and ESPN does, it creates a vacuum of football streaming on the ESPN app. Well, I don't think it does, because I think it perfectly aligns with the Pac-12 deal. And they play in very much the same time zones. I was talking again to another guy on TV who's very well positioned in these situations. He said it makes all the sense in the world for ESPN to do business with the Pac-12, especially with brands like San Diego State and Boise State, because that delivers the Pacific time zone for them. It delivers the Mountain time zone for them. And I think it's critically important. I think the next step, once you get that $10 million a year deal, the next step, again, we go back to the AAC. And I cannot find somebody in the AAC or outside of it or in TV or in the know who thinks that the AAC schools are still legitimately in play for the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have commitments from all of these universities to stay in the AAC and to stay in the Mountain West. And I just don't know how you break those agreements, because, again, as we've reported on this show, I am told the agreement in the AAC is binding. The commitment that those universities made to stay is binding. And again, I go back to what Dr. Ed Scott at Memphis said about the Pac-12. I don't know how you get away from the direct, punch in the face that this is from Ed Scott, the AD at Memphis.
If y'all haven't seen the latest reports of what's going on between the Mountain West and the Pac 6, 7 right now, This is a fluid situation, right? So that's the other thing. When we talk about the decision that was made by the University of Memphis to not join the Pac, as I like to call them right now at this time, that was not a binary decision. That was not a no, we're not ever going anywhere. That was based on the offer that was presented in front of us, that we're not taking that offer because we don't think less of ourselves. And
I think that's exactly right.
Yeah.
You lowballed Memphis. And, you know, the funny thing is, I was talking to a bro yesterday who said, you guys play that Ed Scott bite a lot. And we did back in the day. Listen to the first 20 seconds of this bite. And who does he talk about here?
If y'all haven't seen the latest reports of what's going on between the Mountain West and the Pac-6, 7 right now, this is a fluid situation, right? So
who did he mention there?
Yeah.
The Mountain West and the Pac-12.
And what have we talked about so much? Hey, you're not getting away from the fact that you raided the Mountain West to get this done.
And now you're in court and in litigation with the Mountain West. I'll be honest with you, we've played that 40 times, maybe 30 times.
Yeah.
It's so relevant. I've never noticed him mention that before.
And, you know, on top of being in court, I think then it's like, hey, you're in court, you're in litigation, you raided the Mountain West. Now you're lowballing us. We're just not interested in.
But how did they get lowballed? Not only did he not say, well, they offered us too little per year. That's not what he said. He said, I don't know if you've seen the latest with the Pac-12 and the Mountain West. And then he said, and the offer wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
Why mention the Pac-12 and the Mountain West and the offer's not enough? Because you don't know that you have access to that money because you're going to have to pay those poaching fees.
Mm-hmm.
And you lowballed them because you wouldn't give them a large enough part of that pie because you don't have that to give to the AAC schools. I had never viewed it in that light. The lowball offer wasn't, we're at $7 million a year, or you're going to get $4 million a year. Well, the lowball offer was, we're not giving you any of the jackpot that we realized when the other 10 members of the conference left.
Right.
And why isn't that? Because it's tied up in poaching fees that you're trying to sue to get out of. And again, as I maintain, you're suing to negotiate down.
Which, if we know that, you can be damn sure that he knows that.
I'll be honest with you. I should have heard him say that. I never paid attention to it until a high-ranking television official yesterday said to me, you guys play that drop all the time. Have you not noticed him mentioning the Pac-12 and the Mountain West in litigation? No, I hadn't noticed that.
Maybe it's that Memphis draw. Maybe it's the accent.
And I'm going to play the whole bite. Listen to it and ask yourself, in the first 10 seconds, he mentions the Pac-6 or 7 and the Mountain West. And then what does he say? He essentially says they lowballed us.
If y'all haven't seen the latest reports of what's going on between the Mountain West and the Pac-6, 7 right now, this is a fluid situation, right? So that's the other thing. When we talk about the decision that was made by the University of Memphis to not join the Pac, as I like to call them right now at this time, that was not a binary decision. That was not a no, we're not ever going anywhere. That was based on the offer that was presented in front of us, that we're not taking that offer because we don't think less of ourselves. And I came here for a reason. You heard me in the press conference. You've heard me in any interview I've done. I'm bullish on Memphis's future. And so I think sometimes we get enamored by the new and we want to take a bad deal. And that deal was not a good deal for the University of Memphis. It certainly wasn't a good deal for our athletic department. And most importantly, it was a really, really bad deal for our Olympic sports.
I think that's exactly right.
I mean, that might be, dude deserves a lot of credit for saying what he needed to say, but saying it in a way that wasn't.
He said the quiet part out loud without saying the quiet part.
And it just, I mean, I can't emphasize enough how much that flew under the radar, man. Like, and maybe we just missed that, but I didn't see a lot of people talking about that at all.
I think it is wild to me.
Like, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it is wild to me that you have a group of universities that are so good in football. Yeah. And I don't think any of us question that the Pac-12 is a strong football league, right? But they're they're not good at business, which is why they brought in Octagon.
Yeah.
I think it's a game changer. And I know you guys will say, well, we've never heard of Octagon, Marty. I'm telling you, Octagon's a power player. It's no different than Endeavor. Octagon and Endeavor are competitors, and they're both damn good at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I think this signals that Octagon and the Pac-12 and the TV partners are ready to put pen to paper and make a deal. I think I was told yesterday that, again, it's going to be very difficult for them to achieve something more than $80 million a year, which is $10 million per school. And there's real concern from TV sources that I spoke to about this Pac-12 conference as a basketball conference. And I think all of that adds up to, I think ESPN's a great partner for the Pac-12 because it gives them a later window and it replenishes their Big 12 inventory. I think it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Octagon is so publicly involved now, because I think the deal's close.
Yeah.
At least that's what I was told by sources yesterday. And then you add this Ed Scott thing into it. I think it's going to be fascinating to watch this litigation. And does the Pac-12 go back after the AAC members?
And how does the litigation change once the TV deal is done? How does that change, how the Pac-12, views the litigation and what they want out of the litigation?
Yeah.
And, once you have a TV deal, does your willingness go up to pay the poaching fee? Do you just want to settle that and be done with that and kind of allow everyone to move forward? Or you know what I mean? So I just think there's a lot of questions about philosophy and how leadership in the Pac-12, the Scott Barneses of the world, Teresa Gould, how these folks are looking at the situation, because you can't stay in litigation forever, man. You can't, your conference needs to be that profitability number, not revenue, but profitability is going to decide if this conference is going to be able to survive long term. And that's huge. And
funny enough, one of my TV guys is listening to us talk about this right now, and he sent me this story about Comcast. I don't know how many people saw this. Comcast spins off MSNBC, CNBC, and USA as part of a new entity that they will create. Those three members make $7 billion a year in revenue, while Bravo, Peacock, and NBC Broadcast Network and its parties will remain with the parent company. So in the world of streaming, you're like, well, why do we give a crap about Bravo? Well, because if you look at what Bravo, NBC, and Peacock represent, what is that? That is the power streaming arm of NBC. And NBC has made one thing very clear with their streaming platform. We're going after sports. So I think we continue to see the TV game evolve, right? We continue to
follow the money,
restructure our business models. I don't know, like DirecTV. What has DirecTV done? DirecTV has pivoted from, hey, I need you to put a dish on the side of your house, to, hey, look at our streaming service. It is available on all your mobile devices and television.
Finally.
And you look at ESPN's pivot 5 years ago. What are they going to do next fall? They're going to roll out direct to consumer. You don't ever have to have cable again. So you look at the way these major money makers and revenue generators that pay college conferences like the Pac-12 are operating. They are spinning all of this stuff into, we're creating streaming behemoths that make a lot of money so that we can have the best sports in the business. Because that's really what this is about. And Google the other day, I don't know how many people saw the other week, rather, restructuring their streaming priorities for YouTube TV so that you can now get every major sports package, MLB Home Plate, Sunday Ticket, NBA League Pass, NHL Center Ice, all of it will be available on YouTube TV. Everybody's all in on sports. Why do you think Netflix did the Tyson fight the other night?
100 million views.
A wild amount of people watched that fight.
Well, tried to watch that fight.
Thank you.
Tried to watch that fight. It's,
This is all of this to say the Pac-12 is in the exact right position here. I think finally we can say, and I know it's crazy, finally we can say the Pac-12 is doing it the right way. Because if they had continued, and from what I understand, what they did is they had their executive committee talking to Fox, ESPN, different TV outlets, different TV entities.
Yeah.
And I think the message was clear. we're not going to get the deal we want. Let's bring this thing home. Let's go to Octagon. Because
let's stop asking for $1 million when we're worth, $50. Like, let's get it back in alignment.
Because if you go back, let's rewind the clocks.
Yeah.
If you go back to when the Big 12 got their TV deal, who got that TV deal done? The Big 12, their executive committee, and other parties, right? So now you're looking at Bowlesby handing it over to Brett Yormark, and Brett Yormark has only grown their media footprint. And who are they partnered with? They're partnered with Endeavor.
Yeah.
So you look at the Pac-12, and this is one thing that gives me hope about the Pac-12, because up until yesterday, it had been business as usual. George Kliavkoff's putting the hammer down. Business as usual. Until yesterday when they brought in Octagon. You cannot continue to do the same thing and expect a different result.
We're getting somewhere.
If you want a different result, you got to do something different. And that was going to Octagon. And I think it is exactly the right move. They're doing the right things.
Yeah.
And they are lined out now to get a TV deal. If you do this, we'll pay that.
Yeah.
Now you're going to have to go and get, I think probably you need to be at a minimum of 10 members.
Yeah. Because what are they at right now? 9, right? 9.
No. I think they're at, I'm not going to speak out of turn. Because I think they're at 9 members.
Yeah, I believe they're at 9 members.
I am pretty certain. Pac-12. I think that's the next thing.
Yeah.
Is
well,
that
that's
you
why this
have
is so important.
You have to get more membership. And I think it is really important that you figure out how to do that. The Pac-12 is Boise, Colorado State, Fresno State, Gonzaga, not football, Oregon State, San Diego State, Utah State, and Washington State. So it is 7 with Gonzaga as a basketball only.
So
you
get the
need
deal done.
You need at least 3 more football members.
Full share
football members.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, to be a conference, you got to have 8 full share members.
But to thrive, I would agree. I think you probably
need 10 full share football members.
Yeah.
And I think you need to add a St. Mary's, or that's why the Grand Canyon thing, I know Pac-12 people got all pissed when I said that. That's why the Pac-12 thing mattered.
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely mattered. All right, let's get some of your comments in here. Again with Calford. My guy. Unbelievable.
Bro.
Calford gifts 10 more Monty Show memberships. Wow. Let's go.
You don't
Absolutely
have a
love
at
that.
this point, I don't know what you're
Yeah,
doing.
if you don't have a membership at this point, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know. Arn Kriegbaum doesn't have a membership. Pac-12 should go after North Dakota State and Sac State. Think future and not past. I think Sacramento State would be an excellent addition. The money that they have and the facilities that are coming online.
Yeah.
I think you got to do it. You have to do it. San Diego State, Glenn. The pro rata the Monty Show deserves.
Yeah.
Okay. FCS schools moving to an FBS division have 2-year transition period before officially becoming a member, and it's not cheap. What is it? $5 million at a minimum.
Yeah.
That's just the fee. And then you've got to build infrastructure, which Sac State has. You've got to build infrastructure in facilities, human costs. Like, it's why Vivek Ranadive, the owner of the Kings, saying, hey, Sac State can play basketball at Golden One Center. That's why that's a big deal. Now, would you like it to be on campus? Yes. But downtown Sacramento is not a bad place to play a hoop game. And it's a lovely building. And their football facilities will be, but I think it's awfully difficult. It's awfully difficult now, especially with these letters going out with NIL contracts and guaranteed wages for athletes now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how an FCF school is going to, I mean, dude, it's $1 billion essentially that you're going to spend to play FBS football. I mean, you look at what Sac State's going to do. You got to be at least half a billion, 500 million.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, man. Do the Dakota schools want that? I highly doubt it. Where does it even come from?
Boosters. That's where it comes from.
But if you're North Dakota, South Dakota, do you have those kind of boosters? at a minimum $500 million. That's a lot of bread, dude.
Yeah.
And you're going to lose a lot of games. How many games you lose? A lot.
A lot.
It's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. It is
a lot.
It is without question. Is it possible? Absolutely. Is it likely?
No.
I don't think so. I could be wrong. Jay McClanahan. Can the Pac-12 teams afford the House lawsuits money owed next year?
Yeah, it's a big question.
Boise can. San Diego State. Fresno State's a poverty program. That's a state school. That's a real question. What?
You just so casually roll out poverty program, bro.
Duck season.
Program.
Duck season. Crawling up the orifice, duck season.
Well, Washington State poverty program, man.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Shouty. Good to see you. Damian Fowler, did you see the North Dakota State is getting interest from the Mountain West, or am I wrong? No, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Brandon Bootlair, hey.
Great job, dude.
Huge win for the
Hell of a
Jazz
job.
last night with that loss.
Hell of a job.
You guys, the Utah Jazz, every Utah Jazz fan, have you ordered your Dalton Knecht jersey? You saved your season last night. Like, have you ordered the Dalton Knecht jersey yet? Utah Jazz fans. Dalton Knecht, the Laker dropping about 9 threes last 9 and 12 from
Pause.
What? He saved your season.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
Dalton Knecht saved your season last night. That was a huge win. With that loss to the Jazz, to the Lakers, that was a huge win for the Jazz. Brandon Butler.
Doesn't make you feel responsible.
I've had a couple of days of red assery. I got to be honest with you. I'm ready.
Well,
I'm in
you're
Hawaii
on
already.
syndrome, bro.
I'm in Hawaii already. I got to be honest. And all this nonsense about, oh, Monty, look at, well, they need Rudy to get on the field. Shut up.
They can call Manti Te'o's girlfriend, man. She'll contribute. You
Yeah,
know?
she's dead like Notre Dame's offense.
Yeah.
Like, you guys, like, coming in here and being jackassery about Notre Dame,
Stay hard.
And only Oak State James, the pedophile priest researcher, that's the only guy.
Manti Te'o's in the IPF, so if you want to go and get him and bring him back, you're more than welcome to.
With all the fracking money in the Dakotas, they can easily
Okay. Just had to pull up with the fracking take, didn't you?
Oh, so good. So good. Austin Hoover. I live in Notre Dame. We have a lot of money here. Or hi.
Hi, Notre Dame.
Stay home.
At Notre Dame.
There's a little trauma there.
Do you live under the Golden Dome?
Are
you snuggling up to touchdown? Jesus.
I
believe you mean North Dakota. I live in Salt Lake City. I get it. I live in North Dakota. We have a lot of money here. I know you do, but do you have $500,000 laying around just to do you guys understand that $500,000 is just so you can kick a football? That doesn't buy you a football. You can probably borrow a football. You know how much dude, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Texas got all money. Who are you? J.R. Ewing?
That's
a Dallas dude. Okay. Arn, Monty is correct. Fresno has no serious corporate money. They have corporate sense. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I'd like to thank Dalton and Jordan Clarkson for that loss. Huge win. What do you mean loss? Huge win for the Jazz.
That was a hell of a win, dude.
Hey, look at the mayor has arrived. The mayor of Martytown. Again, Pac-3 can't be a serious conference until it adds the sleeping giant in Utah. Hold on real quick. Okay.
Did you have a little nose itch there? Was that a yeah,
Brandon Butler, Jeremy Bolton. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys being here. Ron Nolan. Where is Danny Ainge been?
I don't know.
Who
you know where he's been? Actually, I do know.
Danny,
he's been in the
Wait, that name sounds vaguely from Danny. Can't pull it where I know. Oh, Boston. Best team in the Does he work for Boston? I thought he took a different job after the Celtics.
Well, there was another guy,
Building
Danny,
champion.
who got fired this week. Oh, that was Danny Dimes on the Giants. My bad. That's the wrong Danny.
Daniel Jones.
Wrong Danny there. Yeah.
I could see that mistake, though. He sucks, too.
We're talking about Danny go to the team store and buy a Utah Hockey Club jersey.
No.
Ainge.
Hey, guys, have you seen our jerseys? Look at these cool mountains on our jerseys, bro.
They hold up the NBA Cup jersey, the purple one with the mountains. It's literally the same jersey, dude. What do you mean?
Who are you, Spider-Man?
Dude.
Google me.
Look, these mountains, guys. Okay, listen. It's a Jazz jersey. It's purple. It's got mountains.
But the purple's a little deeper.
It's got mountains. You can use Apple Pay. Please, go ahead. Buy them up. Suck them up, Jazz fans. Huge win tonight against LA when we lost. Let's go. Mountains everywhere, bitch.
Yeah, number 1 in the draft, Monty.
Let me tell you something. Buy these jerseys so we can get in the pooper for Cooper.
What now? Let me tell you what now.
We're going to capture the flag there, Marty.
Oh, PSA. Thank God hell's not real or I'd be there. I am telling you now that best team in the NBA.
Not the Utah Jazz.
Thank you. Yes.
Wow.
Okay, let's go ahead and turn off the Utah market on the show.
Best team in the NBA. Wow.
Say it. Wait. Say it. Come on. Say it.
Probably OKC.
I hate you so
Yeah,
much.
probably OKC.
Oh dear. Oh my.
It's not the Lakers, dude. I didn't say it was the Lakers. It is the Cleveland Cavaliers.
No, it's not.
It's Donnie.
No.
Donnie, you're out of your element, Donnie.
You think you know it all.
I do. Just ask. Anyway, Brandon Butler. Ainge busy watching Duke from his golden toilet. He's in the pooper for Cooper. He's in the pooper. That is still it. Brandon, is that yours? I think that is one of the greatest lines ever uttered on this show.
Utter,
which is different than pooper.
Right.
I think it's one of the greatest lines ever uttered on this show. And I'm here for it. I am here for it, frankly. But listen, I think that when you look at where Danny Ainge is there any question that he's all in on BYU basketball right now?
Oh, him and Ryan.
All in on BYU basketball. There is just no question about it. Don't forget Duke, Arizona. 8:30 ESPN2 on Friday night. Utah Tech. What if Utah Tech beats Utah? And then who knew Saturday, Mississippi Valley State coming to the Marriott Center.
Sorry, I thought you said Mississippi Valley State.
To take on BYU. BYU's upcoming schedule is Mississippi Valley State, Ole Miss, Providence, Fresno State, Wyoming, Florida A&M. Then at Houston, Texas Tech, TCU, the Utah game in January. And then number 1 Kansas comes to the Marriott Center on this guy's birthday. February 18th. Does BYU shock the world and beat Kansas on February 18th?
Nah, man, come on.
You guys, how awesome would it be if the Jazz don't get in the pooper for Cooper and BYU beats Kansas?
How many close games are you going to try to win this year if you're the Jazz? Like, what are we doing?
You can't win if you're the Jazz. Best team in the NBA right now is the Cleveland Cavaliers. They got hosed in Boston last night. That should have been a flagrant 2 on Jason Tatum. Didn't even review it. I think if you what?
Wow, should have been a flagrant 2. They didn't even review it. They hate Donnie.
Jazz are 3-11 right now. 3 huge losses. If you're the Jazz, can you expect to win 20 games this year?
No, not if you want to get Cooper Flag. If you want to lock up the number 1, 20 wins is too much.
A lot. I think if you look at the numbers in the NBA, I think 15 wins That's it. 15 wins is the only thing that you have got to max out at 15 wins.
Yeah.
I don't see any other way you do it, because if you look at the draft order last year and you start asking yourself, hey, who legitimately the Atlanta Hawks got the number 1 pick last year, right? And their record last year was 36-46. Okay. They won some games. But if you look at Washington, Houston, San Antonio, Detroit, like the worst teams end up at the top of that draft. And I think you have to still, even today, you have to give yourself the best opportunity. Houston won 41 games last year. San Antonio won 22 games last year.
Yeah.
And if you look at San Antonio getting Victor Wembanyama, who, by the way, where's Big Daddy Magic when I need him?
Victor's the way.
Homie sent me a video or a message yesterday.
Yeah, wow, more naked videos in the dark, man.
About how Anthony Davis is a dirty player because he dominated Victor Wembanyama and gave him a knee injury. The year that San Antonio got Wembanyama by your mama, they won 22 games. So I think the number's 15 to 20 games. That's it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think like that 17, 18 win number is ideal.
I agree. Fat old Mormon and dying. BYU got their win against KU last year. It won't happen again this year. Maybe it does. Jeremy Bolton, in the pooper for Cooper is the greatest phrase on here. Guys. Hey, guys is a close second. I agree. By the way, WTF is wrong with the Sixers, dude.
Bruh.
I think that losing is what's wrong with the Sixers, and it's killed their team. I think that I don't know how you explain it. Joel Embiid is a problem.
Yeah, Maxey calling Embiid out in a team meeting saying that he's late to everything. Yeah, probably not a great
Huge
look.
problem.
Not a great look.
Do they get this fixed? They can't get a worse record now. They're going to trade Embiid. I think that is,
we'll see.
It was mine, as was in the face for Ace. Okay. Yes, Brad Adams, Jerry Rice in the house, Mississippi Valley State. I agree. Oh, Ryan Smith's receding hairline has made an appearance.
Hold on. Hang on. 2 seconds here. Let's see. Let me get over here. All right.
We show up.
There you go. Show up. I'll make sure BYU basketball is good. F the Jazz. Exactly right. Exactly right. I think that is amazing. Do we have time to talk about Aaron Rodgers today?
No, probably not. Only got 6 minutes.
What did I ask you guys the other day? Should Aaron Rodgers retire? Did you delete the pictures of Bill Belichick's girlfriend?
Yes.
You chicken and a biscuit. Well, now that I don't have visual implementations, I will tell you, did you guys see this? This is my favorite NFL story. And I'm a sick puppy, right? Bill Belichick and his girlfriend went to the Tom Brady roast. You guys remember that Tom Brady roast?
Mm-hmm.
People were upset, talked about the kids and the wife. Bill Belichick's girlfriend says she is still traumatized. And my question is she talking about the roast, or is she talking about seeing little Belichick? Because one of the worst pictures I've ever seen of a grandpa and his granddaughter is this one right here. Bill Belichick's not an attractive man. How? Ma'am?
Money.
Ma'am.
Money and stature.
Ma'am, can you explain to me, what were you thinking, sir?
Yeah, Bill Belichick just got like 10 times more attractive, considering he's probably a billionaire at this point, and he's won all those rings.
Somebody needs to explain to me how Bill Belichick And dare I say, pulled this one out.
Okay.
Like
Well, it came from behind and, really had to drive it down the field, man.
I don't know.
I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
You figure it out. I don't know.
Back to the envelope calculations.
I mean, that guy's got to have a huge field goal post. That's all that I can think. Because how do you explain
his
it?
pylon is incredible.
And I know the double entendres are probably disgusting to you, but they are necessary. You explain it to me.
He has our full respect.
What does that A gap look like?
Dude.
Because I need to know. How, bro? How?
He took some notes from Bob Kraft, dude.
You are a grizzly looking SOB, sir. And she is just a fine feline. How, man?
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
Is she blind? Yeah, I guess you don't need to look at your money to count it. Anybody, go ahead, weigh in. I know you jackwagons want to get in the comments section and make jokes. Go, please. She has hundreds of millions of reasons, just like that 20-year-old with Al Pacino. Al Pacino, you're dead already and you fathered another child.
Yeah, we're really focused on Philadelphia right now.
Jeremy Bolton, gross. Curtis, Bill must be nice.
Yeah, we're focused on the Jets today.
He's no Pierce Brosnan. No, he's not. No, he's not. I don't know how he did it. I don't know. Snooka. Coach Bell can pull that, but I can't even get a text back. WTF.
We're on to Cincinnati.
Oh, truth. Brad Adams, Lane Train, going to be jealous.
Yeah,
bro. Belichick's got him beat. Money trumps everything. See what he did there?
Nick Saban is a better man than you are.
God, if Nick Saban was single, how old? Are we in the teens for Nick Saban then?
Bro.
Who are you? No,
don't, dude. Why would you do that? Why would you say that, dude?
Who are you, Josh Giddey?
How?
I had to. Fat Jesus, his after sex talk is a lot like his press conference. It was good. Next question.
Yeah, dude.
We're on to tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. Yeah, we're not making any changes.
Mr. Preston, dude, it's fixed. So Mr. Preston comes over to my crib and he fixes my tailgate.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what we're calling it.
Sort of. He Belichicked it. No, he didn't. For whatever reason, my tailgate wouldn't close all the way. Like, on a tailgate, it closes and then it like snugs up to the thing. It goes closed, and then it's like really closed. We couldn't get it to really close. Dude, it's really closing now. Done. Fixed. He's definitely hitting that 21 times. 21 times a month.
Dude, you are not even playing with that, bro. Like, that's facts.
21 times a month.
Yeah, man.
Dev MC, is that his wife? I thought that was his great-granddaughter. Hey, whatever you need to get through the night, dude. 21, can you do something for me? Sergeant Greeny's got a great personality. Oh, I'm sure he does.
Man, I'm sure. It's just all those years of the press.
Buddy Belichick must have an incredible personality. Oh, wait.
Yeah, dude went into full cutoff hoodie mode to close her.
Hot Train's girlfriend versus Bill Belichick's girlfriend. Well,
I think Lane's got him beat, but I mean,
do you really?
It's close,
Lane, Kiffin. See, this is why you can't delete pick.
Well, I didn't think we were talking about this today because we had Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I'll say about this is insensitive, and you know what, you guys, love is more than skin deep. Okay.
Yeah, maybe Bill can educate us.
It's about 6 inches deep.
Yeah.
That was a
see what he did there. That's like, deep route and seam route, and it's deep, and we get it.
A gap.
Right.
Okay, so here's the question. Let's go with this one.
So Bill Belichick's daughter or Lane's daughter? What are we doing here? And to me, the Lane Kiffin girlfriend wife dynamic here,
she's kind of Pinocchio,
is worse because she screams Lane Kiffin's daughter more than.
No, she does not.
Yes, she does.
Are you out
yes,
your
she
goddamn
does,
mind?
Yes, she does, bro. Yes, she does.
Bill Belichick met her at daycare, and she's a
F around and find out.
You think that Lane Kiffin's girlfriend looks more childish Gambino than Bill Belichick?
Childish Gambino.
Hot ass.
You think she looks younger? You think she looks younger?
Dude.
Bruh.
You think Lane Kiffin's girlfriend with those legs, you think Lane Kiffin's girlfriend looks younger? The problem is Bill Belichick looks like he's dead. He looks, the cartoon movie where the guy gets in the house and it's got balloons and it floats away and shit and stuff. You remember that movie?
Yes, Up.
Up, thank you. Down, Bill Belichick, because that's who he looks like. He looks like the old man from Up.
Just needs those thick glasses.
Right? Lane wins. Although she's, again,
what are the people saying?
She's a little more like perfect sculpted. Yeah, Pinocchio's entered the chat. Right? Like, so. Again, public service announcement. Hell's not real. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to get medieval on your ass.
Thank you. 21 times a month. I'll take that over. I'll take the over with that on Prize Picks. More. Bill used the force, apparently. Dude that abides. I think we need James to reinvoke his WAG comparison debate so we can settle this objectively. Right? Bill's girl looks better. Okay, so 1 for Belichick. Sean Mierzinski, any father wouldn't be okay with their child dating someone Belichick's age.
But see, here's the thing. She's not dating him. She's getting paid to provide a certain energy.
Now she's a pro?
I didn't say that. I didn't say she was a pro.
What's wrong with you? Snuka, I'm guessing his balls aren't deflated either. My bad. Deflated. Lopes Van Gabe, I got Bill's daughter by nose.
Wow,
Pinocchio in the nose.
Wow, dude.
You guys really are going with Belichick's gal. See, this is the real life, though. Real life versus real life. Hey, Lane. Yeah, I don't know. I've always been a fan of brunettes. Yeah. So, but Lane's girlfriend does not look younger. She's actually probably employable. Zoom in on her feet, please. Stop,
dude. Stop. This isn't, that certain platform. Stop.
Who are you, Rex Rock?
Yeah, come on, dude.
Zoom in on her feet. Brandon Butler, I'm pretty sure they got a reference from Bobby Kraft in his massage parlor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude.
Where'd you guys meet, Jay Dragon? Funny thing is, I was coming out of the Jay Dragon. She was going in, you know.
We came out of the Orchids of Asia massage parlor.
Yeah, trust me when I say I went in the back door that time. All right.
Dilly.
That's
all right. Good talk, guys. Thanks for showing up. We'll be here all week. Appreciate it.
Don't forget to download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code Monty. We didn't do Prize Picks?
Yeah, we did.
Here are my Prize Picks for tonight. We didn't do Prize Picks for tonight. I won last night. My Prize Picks for tonight, my friends. I think this is a home run. I need Donnie to have 39.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I took more. Devin Booker, 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Absolutely. And James Harden, 6.5 rebounds. Fat ass ain't getting there. Less. That is $10 to win 120 on Prize Picks. And I won last night on 2 of 3. So I'm just telling you. Stop, you guys. I should never have told you I'm on TikTok because now all you hyenas DM me on TikTok and I get the notifications. So there you go. Download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code Monty. You deposit $5, they'll give you 50 more. It's the best daily fantasy promo we've ever seen. Look it up. DM me. Don't DM me. Just DM Jake or don't DM me. I don't read my DMs. Yeah, I do. I seriously, I read them on TikTok. Don't DM me. Unless you're nude, like Big Daddy Magic. All right, I'm going to leave now. Say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.